Chapter 1941. Date, October 20th, Chapter 1953. Her brother is me, so Zhou Ruoguang's your brother. That's even better. But he's not good enough to be my brother. Your brother's nothing but a pug in front of my brother. Ziyu remembered how much respect Zhou Ruoguang had for Lin Yi, and she couldn't help but feel proud of herself. This was even better. Bringing up Zhou Ruoguang and having him ask around would make this guy stop bothering her. What did you say? Zhou Ruoguang's face darkened. This was a slap in the face. He didn't use force on her before because he knew that she was a hooligan. But now she was calling him a pug. Zhou Ruoguang was furious. Who the hell is your brother? I'm her brother. Lin Yi smiled and walked over. You. Zhou Ruoguang paused, not expecting someone to answer. He turned around and his face changed. He didn't expect it to be Lin Yi and his legs went soft, almost falling on his, but he thought about what Ziyu said before, that your brother's nothing but a pug in front of my bro. She wasn't wrong at all. Even his old man, Zhou Tiandi, was nothing in front of Hayashi Lin, let alone Zhou Ruoguang. Hayashi Lin, Ziyu's your sister. Zhou Ruoguang just realized how stupid of a thing he'd done. Of all people, he had to go after Ziyu. His target was Chen Shi, the commoner beauty, but Tang Yin, the commoner beauty, got beaten up by Lin Yi, so he was a bit traumatized. He didn't expect her to be Lin Yi's sister. Why haven't you graduated yet, kid? Can't you do something proper? You only know how to hit on girls. Lin Yi frowned. He could tell that Ziyu wasn't at a disadvantage, so Lin Yi didn't bother with Zhou Ruoguang. With a hooligan like him in school, he could at least look after Ziyu and Qinshi. Hayashi Lin, I can't get into college, so I'll just stay here for a few more years. Zhou Ruoguang said awkwardly. I'm sorry, Hayashi Lin. I didn't know Ziyu was your sister. I wouldn't have gone after her, even if I had 100 guts, if I did. I'll throw this flower away. All right, you don't have to throw it away. Lin Yi snatched the flower from Zhou Ruoguang's hands. I'll give it to you then. Ziyu, this is for you. Ziyu was already very surprised to see Lin Yi, and seeing Lin Yi give her a flower, her heart skipped a beat and her face blushed. In front of outsiders, she was a hot girl, but in front of Lin Yi, she was a good girl. She took the flower and said shyly, Lin Yi bro, thank you. Ugh. Zhou Ruoguang was a bit dumbfounded. Ziyu had this shy side to her, but then he remembered that Lin Yi and Ziyu didn't have the same surname. Could they be siblings? At that thought, Zhou Ruoguang's legs shivered. He really was blind, chasing two women who were Hayashi Lin's women. He was asking to die. Lin Yi bro. She saw Lin Yi as well, but her face darkened when she saw Lin Yi giving flowers to Ziyu. She recovered quickly, and her mood was replaced with joy. Why are you here? Lin Yi's senses were sharp. How could he not see the sadness in Qinshi's eyes? She smiled and split the flowers in Ziyu's hands into two, giving one to Qinshi. This was for you too. I was just about to ask you to give it to you. Yeah. Qinshi, Lin Yi bro wanted to give it to you. Ziyu looked at she teasingly as well. She knew what she was thinking, of course. She'd been joking with her about Lin Yi a lot lately. Is that so? She was happy, but she jumped when she saw Ziyu's eyes. She was afraid that she'd say something inappropriate in front of Lin Yi. Thank you, Lin Yi bro, let's talk outside the classroom. It's not too good, she was a bit shy. She had puppy love in her classmates, but she was the type of girl who was more cautious. She had a crush on Lin Yi, but she didn't want people to see it. In fact, even Zhou Ruoguang could tell what she was thinking. Zhou Ruoguang sighed to himself. If he'd gone after Qinshi back then, he'd be in big trouble. Going after a weak girl like Qinshi. Zhou Ruoguang wouldn't do what he did to Ziyu. He'd definitely do what he did to Tang Yin, threatening her. But if he did that, Lin Yi would probably stomp him to death. What's going on? What are you all standing at the classroom door for? A familiar voice rang out, and the students at the door dispersed immediately. Even Zhou Ruoming carefully moved to the side. "What are you three standing there for?" The voice rang out again, this time for Lin Yi, Ziyu, and Qin Shi. "Haha, Mr. Wang, I'm here to see my sisters." Lin Yi smiled as he greeted the owner of the voice. "Ah, Linny?" Jifeng's face turned a bit weird when he saw Lin Yi. He was relieved that Lin Yi had graduated. He could finally go back to being that powerful headmaster, but now Lin Yi was back. He didn't dare pretend in front of Lin Yi. Now that Lin Yi had graduated, he wasn't afraid of him anymore. What if Lin Yi said something about what happened before? He'd be in trouble. Therefore, Wang Jifeng immediately put on a kind smile. "Ah, these two are your younger sisters. Are they from grade 5, class 5? I understand. If you need anything in the future, you can come find me any time." "Qin, Shi's you." Mr. Wang said that if you need anything, just go find him. Like if someone's chasing after you or something. Lin Yi said with a smile. Ziyu's eyes widened. She didn't think that the headmaster would be this nice to Lin Yi. Just who was this guy? Why was he so cocky everywhere he went? Ziyu was practically worshipping Lin Yi now. "Haha, there's no need for the headmaster to do anything. I'll take care of it for Hayashi Lin." Zhou Ruoming was worried that Lin Yi would come looking for trouble. He quickly patted his chest in front of Lin Yi. Jifeng was speechless. This Zhou Ruoming was so loyal after getting beaten up by Lin Yi a couple of times. This guy was really a softie. But then again, wasn't his weakness in Lin Yi's hands as well? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1942. Date, October 20th, Chapter 1954. In Ziyu's idea, these two could be considered the black and white sides of the school. No one would dare bully Ziyu and Qin Shi in school anymore. "The next class is gym. We're not going." "Linny bro, bring us out for a walk. We haven't seen you in a long time," Ziyu said, skipping class right in front of the dean. "Haha, it's fine. You guys go if you have something to do. I'll talk to the gym teacher," Jifeng said, wishing that Lin Yi would leave. Chen, she wasn't as smart as Ziyu, and her eyes went wide at the words of the strict dean. She couldn't believe it, but Ziyu was already holding her hand, following Lin Yi out of the school building. Ziyu, not bad, actually reaching the minimum requirement to pay for your own expenses. It seems like she's hard work this time. The first half of Lin Yi's sentence was to praise Ziyu, and Ziyu was feeling proud of herself. But the second half of Lin Yi's sentence was to praise Qin Shi. This made Ziyu very depressed. It's true that it's she's work, but she tried her best too, Ziyu said, a little unhappy. "Yeah, Linny bro, Ziyu really put in a lot of effort." Qin Shi said. "I know, I don't want her to get arrogant," Lin Yi said. "But you didn't disappoint me, Ziyu. Study hard, and you'll be able to face yourself and your brother in the future." "My brother?" Ziyu's face was a little down when she heard Lin Yi bring up her brother. "My brother's mission isn't done yet? When will he come back?" "I don't know about that. Some things are confidential, and I can't just say it like that. Please remember," Lin Yi said. "But it'll be a long time, or your brother wouldn't have asked me to take care of you." "The person my brother asked isn't bad at all. Big brother Lin Yi, you're so awesome. Wherever you go, people seem to be afraid of you. Even that black-faced Wang Jifeng treats you kindly. You're really awesome." Ziyu had been scolded by Wang Jifeng a couple of times since school, and she naturally held a grudge against him. Seeing how nice he was to Lin Yi today, Ziyu felt a lot better. "Do you have enough money?" He came to see Ziyu mainly because he wanted to ask if she had any money to spend. The school had waived her tuition, but she still needed money for her living. "Fortunately, I haven't spent all the money you left me last time. I don't really need money." Ziyu wasn't the kind of girl who spent a lot of money. She usually spent money on transportation and food, and she didn't really buy clothes. "Well, it's good that you know how to be thrifty, but don't waste yourself too much. This is a card with 20,000 yuan in it. If you use it sparingly, it should be enough for a semester. Lin Yi said as he handed a card to Ziyu. This was the card Lin Yi got before coming. The password is 6 zeros. This, my brother told you to give me? Ziyu didn't want to take Lin Yi's money. Yeah, your brother left me some money and told me to give it to you regularly. Lin Yi said vaguely. Oh, Ziyu didn't hold back and took the card, putting it in her pocket. How's your mom? She's fine now, right? Lin Yi didn't know why, but he thought of old Zhu again. That guy always had bad intentions, and he didn't know if he'd tried to harm She's mom again. Mom's better now, and she's working at that beef noodle house now. She's a part-time waitress, making 2,000 a month. She was very happy when she talked about her mom's situation. Not only was her mom better, but she could also go out and earn money. She's family's life was a lot easier now. With her mom's income, she didn't have to scavenge every day anymore. She could only go out on weekends, and it wouldn't affect her studies. Lin Yi nodded. All right, go back and study then. I'm leaving now. I'm studying at Donghe. Call me if you need anything. Ah, you're leaving. She didn't want Lin Yi to leave, but she wasn't someone who was good at expressing herself. She didn't know how to make him stay. Lin Yi bro, since you're here, don't leave so early. You didn't even treat me and she to dinner. Ziyu said, coquettishly, when my brother comes back, I'll tell him how you treat us. Huh. Lin Yi smiled, but his heart tightened. Ziyu might never know that her brother was already dead, and she'd never see Armadillo again. At that thought, Lin Yi's face changed. Let's go. I'll treat you guys to dinner. What do you want to eat? I want to eat the beef noodle house she's mom works at, Ziyu said. I tried it once before, and I thought it was a bit expensive. This time it's your treat, Lin Yi bro. All right, let's go then. Lin Yi sighed. Ziyu was a good girl by nature, and being in that school before was actually a form of protection for herself. She wouldn't be able to survive alone in that kind of environment, and even if she did survive, she might catch the eye of some hoodlum and become their slave. After treating Ziyu and she to some noodles, Lin Yi sent them back to school, telling them to study hard before leaving. Lin Yi's heart was a bit heavy. Seeing Ziyu's happy face, Lin Yi's heart was pounding. He'd have to tell her about Armadillo sooner or later. But how was he supposed to tell her? I don't even know what to say to you. Haven't you heard that you have to fight for your own happiness? You're so quiet. Can't you be a bit more proactive? How many years does it take for Lin Yi bro to come visit us? Look, you're wasting the chance, aren't you? Ziyu scolded Shi. Ziyu had guessed Shi's thoughts, and she denied it at first, but after a while she admitted it. Liking Lin Yi wasn't something to be ashamed of, and so Ziyu started teaching her how to chase guys, but she didn't have the chance to put what she taught her into practice. Man, no, I need to do something else next time. Do you know how to flirt? Find a chance next time and trick Lin Yi bro to come to my house. Dress a bit more sexily and flirt with him. Maybe it'll work. Ziyu said. Ziyu sis, what are you talking about? I don't know how to. That's so indecent. She's face got redder. Ziyu actually came up with something like this, telling her to flirt? Wasn't that something only bad girls would do? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1943. Date, October 20th, Chapter 1955. Depressing and depressing. What's so improper about it? Haven't you heard of this saying? Women need to be able to go to the hall, cook in the kitchen, and get on the bed. Ziyu said with a serious face. You need to be noble and dignified in front of outsiders, gentle and virtuous at home, good at cooking. When you're in bed, you need to be horny. Men all like women like that. Ziyu used to be a delinquent girl, living with a bunch of men. She'd heard a lot of this stuff, and now she was teaching Shi. 7 by 24 hours of continuous updates, pure TT handmade. Ah, really? She was more innocent, but Ziyu's words made sense. But that was too embarrassing and she couldn't do it. Of course, no. I have to keep training you or you won't have a big chance. Ziyu said. Ziyu sis, can we not get on the bed? Chin, she said bitterly. How can we do that? This is the most important thing. Ziyu said, don't worry, it's easy to learn. I'll get you some movies, and you'll know when you come to my house. Chin, she stupidly agreed. After leaving the first high school, Lin Yi drove back to the villa area. Ever since he went to East Box, no one had come to this villa for a long time. Lin Yi opened the door of the villa and suddenly felt a sense of desolation. Lin Yi didn't delay. He went upstairs and came to the elder sister and Shu's bedroom on the second floor. This used to be Lin Yi's forbidden place, but later, everyone's relationship became harmonious. Lin Yi came up a few times, but if there was nothing important, Lin Yi still wouldn't come. CME, opening her wardrobe, Lin Yi found a clean underwear storage box and took out the underwear and pajamas in the wardrobe one by one and put them in the storage box. Big Sister's and Shu's underwear were basically cute. Many of them were printed with cartoon patterns, but even so, it still gave people a feeling of imagination. Looking at the underwear in front of him, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of the incident at Grandma Sun's house. When Big Sister took off her clothes to take a bath, he immediately cursed the 3 Earth rank bastards for coming at the wrong time. Burning them to death with fire poison was really letting them off easy. After packing the underwear, Lin Yi found that there was a box under the cabinet. Lin Yi didn't think much about it. He thought that it was a new underwear that hadn't been unpacked, so he picked it up. But when he held it in his hand, he was shocked. Damn, it's so big! Lin Yi looked at the huge thing in front of him and was shocked. Such a huge female masturbator. Was it for Big Sister or Shu? But it doesn't seem like it. Big Sister definitely isn't this kind of person, and Shu, although her character is a bit tough, in Lin Yi's opinion, she wouldn't use such a terrifying thing. However, this appeared in Big Sister and Shu's cabinet. Other than the two of them, there really wasn't anyone else. 7 by 24 hours of continuous updates, pure TT handmade. Lin Yi was a bit hesitant. He didn't know if he should give it to them. He wanted to ask Big Sister and Shu, but Lin Yi was too embarrassed to do so. After a moment of silence, Lin Yi directly stuffed the box into the storage box. He gave it to them anyway, so they wouldn't need it anymore. Lin Yi didn't think too much about it. Perhaps Shu bought it to prank others. This girl often tricked people, so it wasn't impossible for her to buy something like this and stuff it into the bags of Zhong Pingliang and the others. After packing these things, Lin Yi put the storage box in the car's trunk. He then turned back to his room and took out a male thief mask. Lin Yi thought about it and decided to meet Yuku as the male thief. He'd helped her last time with his identity, and the girl had misunderstood him. He didn't want to go through the trouble of explaining to her. Yuku was going crazy recently. Although the construction of the orphanage was on the right track and most of the buildings were built by Fatty Lai's company for free, she still lacked money. Yes, she lacked money very much. There was no other reason. Lingshan had recently uncovered a criminal group that specialized in kidnapping and selling children, raising them to become beggars, entertainers, and thieves. The person in charge of this group was Njenda, but he was beaten half to a pulp by Lin Yi and was sent back to the firewolves by the professor. His underlings didn't know about this, and while they were waiting for Njenda to come back, the police came to their door and wiped out their criminal base. Although the criminals had been sent to prison, the children and street children who had been caught had become a big problem. The police released pictures of these children, and while waiting for their parents to come and claim them, they sent them to the city's orphanage. Of course, everyone knew that other than a few parents who would recognize their children and take them back, most of the children would stay in the orphanage forever. Some of the children were even sold or abandoned by their cruel parents, so why would they take them back? The orphanage suddenly had more than 200 children, and that meant more than 200 mouths. No matter how rich Yuku was, she wouldn't be able to take care of all these children. The money that Lin Yi gave her last time was basically used up, and Yuko was so anxious that she wanted to go back to her old business. In fact, the orphanage could totally reject these 200 orphans. After all, the orphanage wasn't in a good financial situation right now, and suddenly having so many children would definitely increase the burden. However, Yuku and the old director were kind people. They opened this orphanage not to make money, but completely out of love. Yuku even went to the hospital to adopt abandoned babies. Faced with so many homeless children, how could she reject them? Master, there are so many children. Food, clothes, and daily necessities. This cost is too much, and we can't afford it. Why don't we borrow some money from Chairman Lai? Yuka didn't want to borrow money unless it was absolutely necessary. She didn't know why Lin Yi was so good to her. Not only did he give her a sum of money last time, but now he let Fatty Lai build some facilities for the orphanage during the factory's free time. Although most of the materials used were left over from the factory's construction, and the construction time wasn't fixed, he only helped the orphanage when his construction company was free. Although the progress was slow, the orphanage didn't have to pay a single cent. So, Yuku was a little puzzled. What was Lin Yi doing? Since she already knew that she had someone she liked, and it was impossible for her to have anything to do with him, he still did this for another reason. But if that wasn't the case, then why? Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1944. Date, October 20th. Master, your identity. Xiaoka was startled. She knew a little about her master, and if her master were to show his face in public, his life would be in danger. It's been so many years, and that incident should be over by now. Plus, I only accept missions from the thief's door, so there shouldn't be any problems, the dean said. Master, why don't I go? Xiaoka hesitated. No, you almost lost your life last time, and if it wasn't for the male thief protecting you, you wouldn't have made it back. The dean rejected Xiaoka's suggestion. Although you are proficient in some mechanisms and dark arts, your experience is still too little. Facing those cunning people of the same profession, how are you a match for them? Hearing the dean's words, Xiaoka couldn't help but fall into silence. It was true that during the tomb robbery, if it wasn't for the male thief protecting her, she would have become Old Hay's cannon fodder. She wouldn't even know how she died. Man, if only the male thief could come with me. Xiaoka sighed. Lin Yi stood outside the dean's room, quietly, listening to their conversation. He didn't think that the orphanage was still so difficult. He thought that with the money he gave them last time, and with Fatty Lai's free help, the orphanage would have a good life. Who knew that there would suddenly be 200 more orphans? This was killing Xiaoka. With Xiaoka's personality, even if she didn't eat or drink, she wouldn't let these children suffer. So, although Xiaoka was a little reckless and greedy, Lin Yi had a good impression of her. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't have thought of giving this small box of money to Xiaoka immediately. Lin Yi didn't disturb her and waited for Xiaoka outside the room. He didn't want the dean to know that he was here, and he only wanted to see Xiaoka and leave after giving her the things. Lin Yi didn't want too many people to know his identity as the male thief. This dean was a half-golden class master, and Lin Yi felt that she had some secrets. Xiaoka also said that she seemed to have a grudge against someone, so Lin Yi didn't want to have too much to do with her. After talking to the dean, Xiaoka left the room, but she didn't take 2 steps before a voice came from behind. Flying Sparrow, can I talk to you? Lin Yi suddenly appeared behind Xiaoka. Ah. Xiaoka froze, but hearing the familiar voice and the unique name, her eyes lit up with excitement. Male thief! She turned around and saw the familiar mask. Xiaoka's heart skipped a beat, and her cute face blushed. This was the person that she thought about day and night, the person that always appeared in her dreams. She didn't think that he would appear in front of her again. Didn't he say that they wouldn't meet again every time they parted? But it didn't take long for them to meet again, and it made Xiaoka very happy. Huh, it's me, but aren't you going to invite me to your room? It's not good for others to see me like this, right? Lin Yi pointed at his mask and smiled bitterly. Xiaoka couldn't see Lin Yi's bitter smile, but she could hear the awkwardness in Lin Yi's voice. She playfully said, "Then take off your mask." "Take it off. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed." "Sometimes expectations are better than reality," Lin Yi said faintly. "If you don't want to take it off, then don't take it off. Even if you're ugly, I still like you." Xiaoka was telling the truth. She liked the male thief as a person. She didn't know what he looked like, and he always wore that stiff mask in front of her. But Xiaoka liked him just the way she liked him. "Haha, then you can treat me as an ugly monster." Lin Yi smiled. Although Xiaoka said that, she still quickened her steps and brought Lin Yi to her room. Xiaoka was very excited. This was the second time the male thief came to find her, and this was a good start. After entering the room, Xiaoka happily made a cup of tea for Lin Yi and sat beside Lin Yi. "How come you have time to find me today?" "It seems like you're having a hard time, so this is for you." Lin Yi handed the small suitcase to Xiaoka. "What's this?" Xiaoka paused and took the suitcase, opening it. The moment she opened it, her eyes filled with a green light. "American dollars! So much. For me?" Yi nodded. "Wow, male thief, you're too good to me." Xiaoka hugged Lin Yi and kissed Lin Yi's mask. "I love you so much." Lin Yi was a bit speechless. This Xiaoka treated the male thief and Lin Yi completely differently. Last time when he used Lin Yi's identity to give her money, she didn't seem happy at all, and even acted like he was plotting something against her. If it was the male thief, he would have thrown himself at her. This money came from illegal sources, from a drug dealer. "You should have a way to exchange it, right?" Lin Yi reminded. "That's no problem. We're from the thief sect. Dealing with this kind of money is no problem at all," Xiaoka said nonchalantly. $1.5 million? Haha, that's great. It'll be enough for a long time. You can use it first. I'll send you more if I have this kind of money in the future. Lin, you wouldn't mind cashing in again. I'm leaving now. Ah, you're leaving already. Xiaoka was a bit disappointed, but when she thought about how the male thief came to give her money, she felt sweet inside. He still cared about her after all. Otherwise, why would he think of her first after robbing a drug dealer? And, right, does the thief sect? Do you have a special channel for information? I'm looking for some rare items. Do you have a way? Lin Yi was about to leave when he remembered something. Of course. I can help you keep an eye out for what you're looking for. Xiaoka was overjoyed. She was afraid that the male thief would look for her if he didn't need anything. As long as they established a connection, wouldn't it be easy to meet him in the future? Chromatic steel, a type of multicolored steel. Lin Yi said, "There's also blue crystal and pure yellow jade, these three things." Shortcut key, shortcut key. Enter. Next page, shortcut key. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1945. Date October 20th. Oh, okay, I'll keep an eye out for you. Xiaoka didn't have any suspicions after hearing what Lin Yi said. The male thief wouldn't look for normal things so seriously, so it was normal that she hadn't even heard of some of them before. But how do I contact you if I have any news? Xiaoka's eyes flashed with cunningness. As long as she got the male thief's contact number, she could call her often. Lin Yi wanted to give her his number, but he remembered that it was registered with his ID. What if Xiaoka checked it and found out who he was? So Lin Yi said, "How about this? I'll come back after a while." "I see. Okay then." Xiaoka was a little disappointed, but the male thief agreeing to come back was much better than never seeing him again. "I'll be going then." Lin Yi saw the reluctance in Xiaoka's eyes and sighed. "Okay." Xiaoka nodded. Lin Yi turned around and walked towards the door. "Male thief." Xiaoka couldn't help but call out again. "What's wrong?" Lin Yi turned around. I like you. Xiaoka had said these words countless times in her dream. Although she'd confessed to Lin Yi before, she couldn't help but say it again when she saw him again. Lin Yi's footsteps paused, but he didn't say anything. He shook his head and quickly left the room. Disappearing without a trace, Xiaoka, on the other hand, stared at Lin Yi's disappearing silhouette, lost in thought. Lin Yi had no choice but to ask for Xiaoka's help. These 3 items were too precious, and although Fatty Lai had been asking around for them, there wasn't any news. The blue crystal was something that could only be found by chance, and as for the pure yellow jade, he didn't know where it was either. There was no news about Kai Gang either, so Lin Yi could only try his luck and ask for Xiaoka's help. After leaving the orphanage, Lin Yi went back to the car and took off his mask. He called Sun Jingyi directly. Jingyi, where are you? I'm in Songshan now. Lin Yi said, Ah, you're already here? I'm at home. Tell me a place, and I'll go right away. Sun Jingyi said, Let's go to your home. Some things can't be done in public. Lin Yi said, Ah. Sun Jingyi blinked and blushed. Some things can't be done in public. What did that mean? Could it be that Lin Yi wanted to? With that thought, Sun Jingyi couldn't help but blush. Could it be that Lin Yi wanted to exercise his right to let his lover do it? Ugh. Let's call Wu Qintian too. Lin Yi couldn't see Sun Jingyi's expression, so he didn't know what she was thinking. Huh? Wu Qintian? Sun Jingyi was even more dumbfounded. Why would Lin Yi call Wu Qintian? Could it be that he wanted to do 3P? Xiao Xiao told her that she wanted to do 3P with Lin Yi. Could it be that Lin Yi really wanted to do it after tasting the sweetness? But giving Sun Jingyi to Lin Yi was fine, but giving it to Wu Qintian? Wasn't that asking for her death? Yeah, what's wrong? Lin Yi blinked, noticing that Sun Jingyi's tone wasn't right. Wu Qintian, that's not too good, right? Sun Jingyi may look like a strong woman in public, but in front of Lin Yi, she looked like a retard. Not good. That's right. Lin Yi thought about it. He wanted to ask Sun Jingyi about her practitioner's arts. Although Wu Qintian wasn't an outsider, it wouldn't be convenient. Lin Yi nodded. All right, I won't call him then. Phew. Sun Jingyi let out a breath of relief. Huh, that's not right. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he didn't tell Sun Jingyi why he was looking for her. How could she know? So what did she mean by her words just now? With that thought, Lin Yi asked with a weird expression, Jingyi, you don't want me to call Wu Qintian. What do you mean? Didn't you want to do that with me? I'm not even ready yet. Why are you looking for Wu Qintian? I'm not that kind of person. Sun Jingyi panicked when she heard that Lin Yi was looking for Wu Qintian again. The misunderstanding between the two was because they couldn't see each other. If Lin Yi could see Sun Jingyi, he would be able to guess what she misunderstood. And if Sun Jingyi could see the weird expression on Lin Yi's face, she would know that she misunderstood him. But they couldn't see each other's expressions, and they could only guess from their words. And so, the misunderstanding grew bigger and bigger, and Sun Jingyi exploded. Although Lin Yi was strong and she had feelings for him. But even if she had feelings for him, she couldn't just humiliate herself like that, could she? With him. Although she wasn't ready, she was willing. But with Wu Qintian, she might as well kill herself. Wah. Lin Yi didn't know what to do when he heard Sun Jingyi's sudden outburst. But he finally understood why Sun Jingyi misunderstood him. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Jingyi, what does this have to do with being promiscuous? I went to you to ask about House Sun's arts, and as for Wu Qintian, it was to discuss your future plans. But I thought that although Wu Qintian is an outsider, it's better to keep your arts a secret, so I didn't go to him. Did you misunderstand something? Sun Jingyi's face reddened even more. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. No way. She misunderstood? Furthermore, the misunderstanding was so thorough? How shameful. But luckily, Sun Jingyi knew that Lin Yi couldn't see her expression, so she coughed and said, I didn't misunderstand. What I mean is, I've never let anyone enter my room. Yes, only people I like can enter. So Wu Qintian can't come. Yes, that's it, hearing Sun Jingyi's explanation. Lin Yi didn't purposely expose her. It was funny when he thought about it. Sun Jingyi thought that he was going to ask Wu Qintian to do it with her. Was he that shameless? Okay, can I come? Lin Yi asked. You are my half-lover, so others can't come, but you can come. Sun Jingyi said a little embarrassedly. Although she didn't directly admit that Lin Yi was the one she liked, it was a silent agreement. Tlen tips, target equals _blank. Chapter 1946. Then you wait for me. Lin Yi found that Sun Jingyi, this little girl, was really interesting. On the surface, she seemed to be strong. In fact, she was still a little girl who hadn't grown up. Her disguise was just to protect herself. The fickleness of human relationships in a big family made her learn to protect herself from an early age. Sun Jingyi nodded shyly. Her disguise had already been seen through by Lin Yi, so Sun Jingyi wouldn't be so tired to protect herself in front of Lin Yi. She was like a wandering child who found a harbor to shelter from the wind. This feeling was very comfortable. Half an hour later, Lin Yi came to the community where Sun Jingyi rented. This was an apartment area. Although Lin Yi knew the address, he had never been here before. Parking the car downstairs, Lin Yi took the elevator upstairs and rang the doorbell of Sun Jingyi's house. After a while, Sun Jingyi's voice came from inside. Who is it? It's me, Lin Yi, said Lin Yi. The door was opened, and Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi with some surprise. You're here. Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi, and a slight smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. This little girl was obviously wearing pajamas at home, but her face was carefully made up. Obviously, she dressed up for his arrival. This made Lin Yi feel surprised and helpless. Sun Jingyi, did it become real? Is it the pressure from the Sun family, or is it Sun Jingyi's own intention? Lin Yi didn't like the kind of purposeful interaction. If Sun Jingyi approached him on the idea of old man Sun, then Lin Yi would feel uncomfortable. Make yourself look more innocent. It's quite pleasing to the eye. It's much better than the mature look you used to have, Lin Yi said. The company has been sold. I have nothing to do. Of course, I won't dress up anymore. Sun Jingyi listened to Lin Yi's words and was a little happy. Am I really beautiful today? Indeed, Lin Yi nodded and said, but the next time I come, you don't have to dress up. There's no need. You're already pretty good looking. Sun Jingyi's thoughts were exposed by Lin Yi, and she immediately felt a little embarrassed. She said, I went out to buy food. That's why I put on makeup. Do you think it's because of you? Shameless. What about food? I happen to be a little hungry, Lin Yi said. Food. I've finished eating. Sun Jingyi snorted. Finished eating? Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi with a smile that wasn't a smile. I've really finished eating. I've thrown away the packaging. Sun Jingyi said. Book C Pavilion. Oh, where did you throw the packaging? Let me see what you're eating. I'll go buy it too. I don't know what to eat anyway, Lin Yi said seriously. Lin Yi, are you doing this on purpose? Why are you so annoying? Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi was deliberately making fun of her. She simply stopped pretending and said angrily, I dressed up for you, okay? Are you satisfied? Ugh. Lin Yi didn't expect to make Sun Jingyi go berserk twice in one day. He suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He touched his chin and smiled bitterly. Jingyi, I'm just joking. Me too. Sun Jingyi said. Okay, let's get down to business. Right? Can you transfer some of your true qi to me? Lin Yi asked. My true qi? Transfer it to you? After Sun Jingyi was slightly stunned, her face became extremely strange. Are you serious? What's wrong? Lin Yi saw Sun Jingyi's expression, and he faintly felt that there seemed to be something that he had neglected. When the people of our Sun family reach the first level, True Qi can only be used by one person. If we can't reach the second level, then we can only transfer true Qi to this person for the rest of our lives. Sun Jingyi said, "Don't you know?" Lin Yi had heard of this situation, but he ignored this condition before. He thought that it was okay for Sun Jingyi to transfer some true Qi, but now it seemed that if he wanted Sun Jingyi's true Qi, it was equivalent to binding Sun Jingyi's lifetime happiness. Before Lin Yi made up his mind to accept this girl, he definitely couldn't do such a reckless thing. Therefore, Lin Yi suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "I forgot about this, but don't get me wrong. I just want to study your true Qi. I don't mean anything else. I see." Sun Jingyi breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time, she was a little disappointed. She was even thinking that if Lin Yi insisted, would she listen to him and transfer her true Qi to him? In that case, she could rely on him openly because she had pinned her lifetime happiness on Lin Yi. She, Sun Jingyi, could only serve Lin Yi for the rest of her life. So if after you transfer your true Qi to me, your true Qi will automatically become the same as mine, then the true Qi that you produce in the future will automatically become this kind of true Qi? Lin Yi suddenly thought of a very important question and asked quickly. "That's right," Sun Jingyi nodded. "This mental cultivation of our Sun family is very strange. It is completely an auxiliary mental cultivation. Once the true Qi in my body becomes your true Qi, then no matter how much true Qi I have, it will be the same kind of true Qi. So that's how it is." There was a hint of understanding and joy in Lin Yi's eyes. If it was really like what Sun Jingyi said, then there was no need for him to study Sun Jingyi's true Qi. No wonder he felt that the true Qi in Grandma Sun's mind didn't have any evil intentions, and there was a familiar feeling. It turned out that this feeling didn't come from Sun Jingyi, but from Faubert. Since Grandma Sun was Faubert's wife, then the true Qi that came out of Grandma Sun was naturally the same as Faubert's true Qi. After thinking about this, Lin Yi secretly scolded himself for being stupid. He actually gave up what was close at hand and sought what was far away. Didn't he know everything when he tested Faubert's true Qi? Yeah, what's wrong? Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi seemed to be very happy and she was somewhat puzzled. "Hee, Jingyi, thank you. You helped me solve a big problem." Lin Yi laughed. "So your Sun family's mental cultivation is so strange. No wonder I can't see through your strength." From the moment Lin Yi met Sun Jingyi, he couldn't see through her strength. It could only be said that Sun Jingyi's mental cultivation belonged to the swordsman, but it wasn't completely swordsman. She didn't have a strength level, it was completely an auxiliary mental cultivation. "Well, it's nothing." Sun Jingyi shook her head. She didn't understand what she had helped Lin Yi with. "Oh, right, Jingyi. Can you give me a copy of your mental cultivation?" Lin Yi suddenly thought that if he let Grandma Sun continue, could she continue to help Faubert? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1947. Date, October 20th. This is possible, but only the people of our Sun family can practice the Heart Sutra. Others can't practice it. Sun Jingyi wasn't very secretive about the family's Heart Sutra. After all, the Sun family also gave this Heart Sutra to the people of the Wu family to practice, but it ended in failure. The final conclusion was that this Heart Sutra was only effective for the people of the Sun family. Others couldn't practice it. So in this way, this Heart Sutra wasn't important, and there was no confidentiality. The people who were in high demand were the children of the Sun family. "It's okay. I just want to study it," Lin Yi said. "Okay, then you wait. I'll send it to you via text message." As Sun Jingyi said this, she took out her mobile phone, found a file, and sent it directly to Lin Yi. Lin Yi's mobile phone immediately sounded a notification that he had received an email. Lin Yi was a little speechless. In his opinion, these Inner Four Sutra were all written on bamboo slips and sheepskin scrolls. At the very least, it was a thread-bound book. Sun Jingyi's Heart Sutra was good. It was directly an ebook. However, this was also a product of the development of the times. Lin Yi thought that he was lagging behind. Originally, Lin Yi also wanted to help Sun Jingyi improve some strength, but he thought that if his true qi went to Sun Jingyi, would it cause changes to Sun Jingyi's true qi? If Sun Jingyi's true qi became the same as his own, then Lin Yi would be in trouble. Thank you. Lin Yi saved the Heart Sutra in his mobile phone and said sincerely, right, Jingyi, what are your plans for the future? Lin Yi knew that Sun Jingyi's company had been sold, and she had nothing to do at the moment. I don't know. I don't want to go back to the Sun family, and I don't want to work hard to start a business alone. Speaking of this, Sun Jingyi smiled self-deprecatingly and said, You also saw it. A girl with no background. I also don't have a strong man to protect me. My business is always bullied, just like last time. Huh? Don't you have Wu Qintian helping you now? Whoever dares to bully you, that kid will slap them to death with one palm. Lin Yi laughed. It's mainly because it's too tiring to manage a company alone, and now I don't need to prove anything. Sun Jingyi said, In the past, starting a business was for the Sun family to see. Let Grandpa and the others feel that I'm not just a victim of profit in the Sun family. Instead, he could be independent. But now I find that this idea is somewhat wrong. In any case, I can't do too much on my own after so many years. It's still a small company. Lin Yi knew about Sun Jingyi's pitiful life, so he nodded in silence. But you can't always stay here, right? I don't know. But in this noble house meeting, I've understood something. Sun Jingyi said, that is, the strong are respected. In the eyes of the noble houses and hidden houses, only the strength of a practitioner represents everything. Thinking about it, it was laughable that I wanted to use business to prove my strength. That's right. The foundation of a noble house and hidden house is the strength and number of practitioners. Lin Yi said, Why? Do you want to train too? Haven't I always been training? Jingyi smiled bitterly, thinking back to my grandpa's attitude during the meeting. He wanted me to marry Wu Qintian, but when he saw how you destroyed House Yu so domineeringly, he told me to get on your good side. But when he heard that you pissed off a hidden house, and they sent 3 Earth class after you, he froze my bank account and told me to stay away from you. At the end of the day, in their eyes, I'm still a commodity. I thought that Grandpa treated me differently. But even though he was nice to me, family isn't as important in the face of the family's interests. Jingyi smiled bitterly, thinking about Grandpa's attitude back then. How could Lin Yi not understand what Sun Jingyi was saying? Noble houses were the same as those sections. Thinking back to how excited Crystal Candy was when she found out about Xiao Xiao's constitution, and how she was willing to lower herself to talk terms with a mystic like him so that she could become the heir of the Ice Palace. Sometimes it can't be helped. Your grandpa may be an old fox, but he did it for the sake of the family. Lin, he said, in an old man like him, the family's benefits are above everything else, so you can't say that he's wrong. Some things can't be right or wrong. Yes, so in order to escape this fate, I have to become a strong practitioner. Jingyi said, I want to work hard on my training. Once I reach the 2nd stage of House Sun's arts, I'll be one of the core members of House Sunday. Even my grandpa won't make me do things I don't like anymore. If I reach the 5th stage, then I'll be able to transfer qi to any practitioner, and there won't be any restrictions. My identity will be different by then. Of course, the 5th stage is just a dream for House Sun, and no one has reached it yet. Jingyi said, Your arts are too weird, and you're not leveling up between sky, earth, mystic, and yellow, so I want to help you, but I can't. Lin Yi said, I can't raise your strength as fast as Wu Qintian and the others. I know. Sun Jingyi nodded and said, House Sun's arts can only be improved by absorbing qi from the surroundings. There's no other way. Lin Yi nodded. The energy in his body was pure energy, but it wasn't pure qi. It was pure chi that was converted from the chi of heaven and earth through the art of dragon mastery. Although this chi had the same effect as the chi of heaven and earth, and could be converted into other types of chi for others to use, the prerequisite was that the art of dragon mastery was the art of conversion. So, the all-purpose chi combined with the arts was equivalent to the chi of the surroundings and could be used by others. It wasn't like the normal chi of the surroundings, which could be directly absorbed and refined by the practitioner. The two had the same effect, but the essence was different. If Sun Jingyi absorbed his chi, she would probably become like him. She didn't know the art of dragon mastery, so naturally, she couldn't transform chi. In this case, Sun Jingyi's chi could only be used by him in the future. To put it bluntly, Sun Jingyi's body was like an energy storage device. Her body could absorb the chi of the surroundings, and this chi could be absorbed and refined by other practitioners. Of course, this was only Lin Yi's guess. Lin Yi still had to research to know the specifics. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1948. Date, October 20th. What about your other brothers and sisters? Will they become the bargaining chip of the Sun family's interests? Lin Yi asked. I have no father or mother. If someone needs to be sacrificed, naturally I will be the first to be sacrificed. Sun Jingyi smiled bitterly. Moreover, I am relatively powerful among the cultivators of this generation. I have cultivated to the great perfection of the first level. It is just in line with the conditions for other families to marry the Sun family, so your parents. I heard from Sun Ikai. When Lin Yi said this, he paused and didn't continue. This topic was just casually mentioned by Lin Yi because of Sun Jingyi's words. But after saying it, he regretted it a little. After all, this was someone else's sad past. It was a bit abrupt for Lin Yi to mention it. They're all gone now, it's fine, I'm used to it. Jingyi smiled bitterly. I was too young back then. I didn't even get to see my parents. The only thing I know is this little jade pendant they left me. Lin Yi said, but I was too young back then. As Sun Jingyi said this, she took off the small jade pendant on her chest and rubbed it in her hand. It could be seen that she cherished this jade pendant very much. Pure topaz. Seeing Sun Jingyi's jade pendant, Lin Yi's eyes slightly focused. He didn't expect that the jade pendant on Sun Jingyi's chest was actually pure topaz. It was one of the materials he needed to refine the jade pendant space. Pure topaz? You know it. Sun Jingyi saw Lin Yi's excited expression and suddenly froze. Even if the material of this jade pendant was precious, it seemed that Lin Yi wouldn't be so surprised, right? Can I have a look? Asked Lin Yi. Of course. Sun Jingyi nodded and handed the jade pendant to Lin Yi. It really is pure topaz. Lin Yi looked at the pure yellow jade pendant in his hand and took a deep breath. Although he really wanted to keep it for himself, he also knew that this was the only thing Sun Jingyi's parents had left for her. Even if he needed it, he would be too embarrassed to ask Sun Jingyi for it. However, Lin Yi was still very fond of the jade pendant in front of him. You seem to like this jade pendant? Sun Jingyi saw the possessiveness in Lin Yi's eyes and was very surprised. Lin Yi did not lack money. Although this pure topaz was rare, it was not a priceless treasure. In the eyes of these big families and cultivators, it was nothing. Perhaps this pure topaz could be sold for a good price at the auction. But in the eyes of the Sun family and Old Man Sun, it was just a good accessory. These people didn't even covet it. Lin Yi nodded and didn't hide it. To tell you the truth, I need pure topaz to refine something. This pure topaz, if it wasn't something your parents left for you, I would definitely ask you for it. Sun Jingyi didn't expect Lin Yi to need pure topaz. Although she wanted to help Lin Yi, she thought that this jade pendant was the only thing left for her by her parents. If she wanted to find clues about her parents, she could only use this jade pendant. Therefore, Sun Jingyi really couldn't give it to Lin Yi. I'm sorry. I want to find news of my parents through this jade pendant one day. So, I understand. That's why I said that. Lin Yi picked up the pure topaz and prepared to return it to Sun Jingyi. Although there was still a trace of reluctance, Lin Yi could still pick it up and put it down. However, when Lin Yi just wanted to return the jade pendant to Sun Jingyi, he couldn't help but let out an sound. What's wrong? Sun Jingyi didn't understand why Lin Yi was suddenly surprised. This jade pendant. Lin Yi was in desperate need of pure topaz, so he checked it more carefully. Just when he wanted to return it to Sun Jingyi, he suddenly found that there was a very small crack on this jade pendant. If it weren't for Lin Yi's sharp eyes and the direction of the light, it would be absolutely difficult to find it. What's wrong? Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi's strange face and asked quickly. This jade pendant seems to be two halves put together? Lin Yi put the jade pendant in front of his eyes and carefully observed it for a long time before saying so. Put together? Sun Jingyi was slightly stunned. She quickly moved her head over and followed Lin Yi's gaze to the jade pendant. She couldn't help but exclaim because, on this jade pendant, there was indeed a small line. This line wasn't irregular, but it was straight, as if it was cut and then pasted back together. Sun Jingyi looked at the crack on the jade pendant in surprise. She even forgot her current position, and her face was close to Lin Yi's. It was a little ambiguous. It seems that it was really cut and then pieced back together, but it was done very carefully. It's not obvious. If I didn't desperately need pure topaz, I probably wouldn't be able to see it so carefully. Lin Yi said, this crack couldn't be seen without looking at it carefully against the light. This discovery surprised Sun Jingyi. It could be said that she grew up wearing this jade pendant. Although she often played with it, she didn't find the crack on this jade pendant. In Sun Jingyi's eyes, this should be a keepsake, so she didn't think that this jade pendant was two pieces stuck together. Then why did he do this? Could it be that this jade pendant was broken before and repaired? Sun Jingyi also looked at the jade pendant in Lin Yi's hand strangely. I don't know, but the possibility of natural damage is relatively small. Even if this jade pendant is broken, it is impossible to fall into such a neat two halves. Moreover, this crack is in the middle of the side of the jade pendant. How powerful is this to have such an effect? Lin Yi shook his head and denied Sun Jingyi's guess. So you're saying that it's man-made? Jingyi asked. It's very likely, but I don't know why it was done. Lin Yi said, but I have a speculation. What speculation? Sun Jingyi asked anxiously. It was related to the news of her parents. She was naturally very anxious. If I guess correctly, there should be something in this jade pendant. Lin Yi said, this jade pendant was cut by a superb method and then repaired together. Maybe something was placed in this jade pendant. So there may be something left for me by my parents? Sun Jingyi listened to Lin Yi's words and suddenly became a little excited. Of course, this is just my speculation. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Moreover, this jade pendant is broken. Obviously, it is not easy to repair. But I really don't want your pure topaz. Lin Yi's words caused Sun Jingyi to roll her eyes. Of course, I know you don't. If you explain like this, it seems like you are exposing yourself. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1949. Date October 20th. Agi. Lin Yi was a little embarrassed and said, Okay, I'll return it to you. As Lin Yi spoke, he turned his head and saw Sun Jingyi's neckline. He saw a touch of spring inside, because when Sun Jingyi took off the jade pendant, she unbuttoned a button on her shirt, so the spring inside the neckline could be easily seen. My chest is better than the jade pendant. Sun Jingyi took the jade pendant, but she saw Lin Yi's lustful gaze. However, what surprised Sun Jingyi was that she didn't feel disgusted with Lin Yi's gaze, so she couldn't help but tease. This Lin Yi was exposed by Sun Jingyi, and he was very embarrassed. He laughed and said, "They are all very good." "Which one is the prettiest?" Jingyi asked, not giving up. "You are the best." Lin Yi smiled. He and Sun Jingyi were together. From the beginning, they had been joking all the way until now. There were no taboos, so they could let it go. "That's more like it. You have good taste as a lover." Sun Jingyi snorted. "You help me crush this jade pendant. If there is really something inside, I'll give this jade pendant to you. I only want the thing inside. Jingyi, I'm just saying, you don't have to worry about it. This is something your parents left for you. How can I destroy it and ask for it?" Lin Yi said sternly, "Moreover, I'm just guessing. I can't say if there is anything in it. Of course, I know you are not that kind of person. I really want to know if there is a secret in it." Jingyi said, "There's definitely something strange about this pendant, so I'm getting impatient myself. If there really is something in there, then it must be a clue my parents left for me. I have to get it." Looking at Sun Jingyi's determined gaze, Lin Yi knew that she wasn't just saying. She really wanted to know if there were any secrets in the jade pendant. Therefore, after pondering for a moment, Lin Yi nodded and agreed. "Okay, but it's better to find a professional to handle this kind of thing." Master Guan had a friend who was an expert in jade carving. Master Guan asked him to help him. He should be able to repair it. "You don't want this jade pendant?" Lin Yi's reply made Sun Jingyi very surprised. "This is something your parents left for you. No matter how much I want it, I can't take it for myself, right?" Lin Yi said with a smile. "Well, if there's something in there. If you don't have it, just fix it," Sun Jingyi said. "Thank you in advance." Hearing Sun Jingyi's insistence, Lin Yi didn't refuse again. After all, he really needed this pure topaz. In Sun Jingyi's home, Lin Yi first called Guan Xuemin and asked him to give him the address of his old friend. Xuemin naturally told Lin Yi where his old friend lived without hesitation. He'd told the old friend that he had a friend who was both a teacher and a friend coming to visit, and that he needed Xuemin's help. After calling Guan Xuemin, Lin Yi called by Weituo. If he went to visit Guan Xuemin's old friend tonight, he might not be able to make it back to Shueshing tomorrow. He asked Bai Weituo to help him ask Boss Bai for half a day off. Bai Weituo already knew that Lin Yi had passed Boss Bai's test. So for Lin Yi's leave, Bai Weituo didn't hesitate to agree. Otherwise, without Boss Bai's permission, even if he was the class monitor, he wouldn't dare to simply agree. "Let's go. We'll visit Mr. Liu tonight," Lin Yi said to Sun Jingyi after the phone call. "All right." Jingyi was very impatient as well. She wanted to know what secrets were hidden within the pendant. So when Lin Yi called, she had already changed her clothes. "Your clothes are similar to a student's. Now you look much more compatible with me," Lin Yi said while looking at Sun Jingyi with a smile. "Yeah, to be your half-lover, you have to be more compatible. Otherwise people will think that you're my sugar baby," Sun Jingyi said with a smile. "Then when can I be your complete lover?" Lin Yi asked with a smile. "Complete lover, hee. It still needs to be observed," Sun Jingyi said. With Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi had a relaxed feeling that he had never felt before. The jokes between the two were also unrestrained, and Lin Yi didn't have to deliberately avoid anything. Just like when he looked at Sun Jingyi's chest, Sun Jingyi didn't think of shyness or anger, but asked him if he looked good. The old friend was called Lu Weishan, a retired professor of Songjiang Industry University. He lived in the family area of Songjiang Industry University. Lin Yi set the navigation, started the car, and went straight to Songjiang City. When they came out from Sun Jingyi's house, it was already 6:00 in the evening. Both of them hadn't eaten yet. Lin Yi didn't have to eat, but Sun Jingyi was worried about the secret in the jade pendant, so she didn't have the mood to eat. The car belonged to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, so when they got on the highway, Lin Yi drove at the speed limit. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1950. Date, October 20th. Looking at the disappearing Jeep Cherokee, the young man started to slow down. He knew he couldn't overtake it anymore. On a professional track, with the car's performance, overtaking the Jeep Cherokee shouldn't be a problem, but not here. No, I can't catch up. How can a Jeep drive so fast? Is he crazy? The young man frowned. He couldn't understand. Who was this person? It wasn't a professional sports car, but an off-road vehicle could reach 300 kilometers per hour. It was unbelievable. Bro, if that person represented our family in the competition, would our family gain more benefits in the upcoming Hidden House Summit? The young man wasn't thinking about how the Jeep could go so fast. He was thinking about the bigger picture. Yeah, if we let this person compete, we might win. The young man's eyes lit up. But we don't know his identity. We'll get someone to get the surveillance footage from the toll station and check the owner. The young man sighed and said, let's figure out his identity first. If we can work together, then that's the best. If he's related to our opponent, then our family will have an opponent at this summit. Okay. The young man nodded. Lin, he didn't know that his driving skills were being watched as he continued to rush toward Songjiang. Sun Jingyi looked at the blurry scenery outside the car window and thought it was unbelievable. Wasn't this too fast? But she didn't feel scared. Was it because the person driving was Lin Yi? How can you drive so fast? Sun Jingyi was curious. This isn't a professional sports car. Otherwise, it could be even faster. Lin Yi said, there's nothing strange about it. I can even fly a plane. Have you seen a plane race before? You can race a plane? Sun Jingyi realized that the Lin Yi she knew was just the tip of the iceberg. Other than being a practitioner, he seemed to know a lot of things that she didn't understand. For example, medical skills. If there's a chance, I'll bring you around and you'll know. Lin Yi said indifferently. Lin Yi took less than an hour to reach the destination that was supposed to take 2 hours. When the car entered Songjiang Industry University, it was past 7:00 in the evening. The car was stopped at the entrance of the family area. Lin Yi was neither a student nor a teacher here. Therefore, they didn't talk much nonsense with the guard. They parked directly in the parking space at the entrance of the family area and walked to Lu Weishan, Elder Lu's home with Sun Jingyi. He rang the doorbell. After a while, an old man's voice rang out. Who is it? Hello, Elder Lu. I'm Lin Yi. Elder Guan introduced me to you. Lin Yi said respectfully. Oh, you must be Lin Yi. Please come in. With that, the electronic door opened and Lin Yi brought Sun Jingyi upstairs. Lu Weishan had already opened the door and waited for Lin Yi. Elder Lu, I'm sorry to bother you so late. Lin Yi said apologetically. Haha, don't say that. This old man has nothing to do all day long. My son and daughter-in-law have settled abroad. My godson and daughter aren't around. I have nothing to do every day. I just want to find something to do. Lu Weishan retired at home. As he said, there was nothing to do after dinner every night. Then I won't be polite. Lin Yi came in and said to Lu Weishan, my name is Lin Yi. This is my friend Sun Jingyi. I'm here to trouble Elder Lu. I heard from Elder Guan that you're looking for pure topaz, right? I've already asked my friend in the jade industry to help you inquire, but there's no news yet. Don't worry. If there's news, I'll inform Elder Guan immediately. You don't have to come in person. Lu Weishan said. Elder Lu, I'm here this time for another matter. As Lin Yi said this, he handed Sun Jingyi's jade pendant to Lu Weishan and said, Elder Lu, look at this jade pendant. Oh, pure topaz? Lu Weishan saw that the jade pendant in Lin Yi's hand was pure topaz at a glance. He said with some surprise, Have you found pure topaz? I found it, but this jade pendant is the only token that Sun Jingyi's parents left for her. As Lin Yi said this, he couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. I understand. Lu Weishan smiled slightly. Then, what do you want to do with this jade pendant? Elder Lu, look carefully at this jade pendant. Lin said, look carefully? Lu Weishan picked up the jade pendant and looked at it carefully against the light in the living room. But the next moment, Lu Weishan said with surprise, this jade pendant is pieced together? It's a piece of jade that was cut and then pieced together again. Elder Lu, you noticed it too? Lin nodded. The piecing method is very advanced. If I don't look carefully, I really can't see it. Lu Weishan said, Little Yi, what do you mean by showing me this jade pendant, Elder Lu? Can you cut this jade pendant again? It's best not to damage the jade pendant. I suspect that there's something hidden in it. Moreover, if there's nothing in it, it's best to piece it back together. Lin said, Oh, this is not a problem. Lu Weishan nodded without thinking. Obviously, this matter was not difficult for Lu Weishan. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi were delighted after listening to Lu Weishan's words. They didn't expect such a complicated craft to be no problem in Lu Weishan's eyes. Old man, what are you doing? There are guests in the house. Why are you still standing at the door? While talking, an old lady with a kind face came over. Obviously, she was Lu Weishan's wife. Hee, I forgot to enter the house when I was talking at the door. Old lady, you go and make some tea. These two children, follow me to my study room. I will help you remove this jade pendant now. Lu Weishan finished talking to the old lady and turned to Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. Now, if it's troublesome, you don't have to do it today. Tomorrow is fine too. Lin Yi said. It's okay. I'm idle now anyway. Lu Weishan waved his hand and said, I still want to find something to do. Hearing Lu Weishan's insistence, Lin Yi didn't say anything else. Perhaps Lu Weishan really couldn't stay idle. Looking at his energetic appearance, Lin Yi knew that he was in good health. Lin Yi wasn't afraid that he would be too tired from working at night. In the study room, Lu Weishan sat on the workbench skillfully. He put the jade pendant under the microscope and observed the lines on it. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi didn't dare to disturb him. They sat on the sofa and waited quietly. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1951. Date, October 20th. After a while, Lu Weishan's wife, Chu Huifang, came into the study with a cup of fragrant tea. Two kids have some tea. When old Lu is busy, he forgets about other things. Thank you, Grandma. Lin Yi took the teacup and said politely, Hee, you're welcome. I'm going out to watch TV. If you need more water, just call me. Don't be shy. Chu Huifang said. You're busy. Don't worry about us. Lin Yi said. Chu Huifang went out. Lu Weishan was just like what she said. When he was busy, he would forget about other things. However, Lin Yi had to admit that Lu Weishan's technical level was great. The jade pendant was quickly fiddled within Lu Weishan's hands. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi sat quietly and waited. They didn't talk because they were afraid that their words would affect Lu Weishan. After about 2 hours, the jade pendant was cut open. However, Lu Weishan also exclaimed in surprise, Hey, there's really something inside. There's really something inside. Lin Yi didn't expect his and Sun Jingyi's speculation to become a fact. Yes, this jade pendant is hollow. I have to cut it carefully. I have to cut along 4 circles to ensure that the thing inside is not destroyed. Lu Weishan said, but it's more difficult to do so. It may not be completed in a day or 2. Don't bother. Sun Jingyi suddenly said, Elder Lu, since there's something inside, it's fine as long as the thing inside is intact. It doesn't matter if the jade pendant outside is destroyed. Since Sun Jingyi already knew that there was something inside the jade pendant, then the jade pendant was not so important. It could be said that the jade pendant outside was only used to protect the thing inside. As long as the thing inside was taken out, then the jade pendant would be useless. Bubble. Book asterisk moreover. Sun Jingyi also decided to give the jade pendant to Lin Yi. According to Lin Yi, it seemed that it didn't matter to him if the jade pendant was broken. He just wanted to use the jade pendant as a material to refine something. However, Sun Jingyi didn't ask much. Destroy it? Lu Weishan was slightly surprised. If it's destroyed, it can't be restored. It doesn't matter. I just want what's inside. The jade pendant will be given to Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi said. Lin Yi, can this jade pendant be damaged? Lu Weishan looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Yes, Lin Yi said. As long as it's pure topaz, it's fine, no matter if it's whole or broken. Lin Yi was going to use it to refine the space in the jade pendant. When the time came, it would be broken, so it didn't matter if it was broken or intact. Oh, so that's the case. That's easy. I have a few friends who used to carve pure topaz. The leftover pieces of broken jade are kept. I seem to be able to find some here. If you only want these broken pieces, then I can help you collect some. Lu Weishan listened to Guan Shuimin's words before and thought that Lin Yi wanted a whole piece of pure topaz. After all, everyone who asked for jade wanted a whole piece of pure topaz. Lu Weishan had never heard of anyone asking for broken pieces of jade. That's great. Lin Yi was suddenly surprised and happy. Sun Jingyi's pure topaz wasn't big. Lin Yi was afraid that it couldn't meet the refining conditions of the jade pendant. After all, Lin Yi had a qigong deviation because he replaced the body-tempering medicine last time. This time, when refining the space in the jade pendant, he must be more careful. When the number of raw materials was not enough, Lin Yi wouldn't easily try. Otherwise, if the raw materials went blind, it would be a small matter. If the jade pendant space was ruined, then it wouldn't be fun. But my remaining small pieces of broken jade should be kept in the self-sealing bag in the warehouse. I can't find them today. I can only help you find them slowly, Lu Weishan said, because there are too many things in the warehouse. It doesn't matter. There's no hurry, Lin Yi said. In addition to the pure topaz, Lin Yi also needed color steel and blue crystal powder. These two things weren't gathered yet. Even if Lin Yi got the pure topaz now, it would be useless, so he wasn't in a hurry. Well, if that's the case, then I will directly break this jade pendant, Lu Weishan said. Okay, Sun Jingyi nodded. She also couldn't wait to know what was in the jade pendant. It wasn't cut according to the lines, but it was dismantled by force. As long as the things inside were intact, it would be much easier. Lu Weishan directly used the cutting knife to cut around the jade pendant a few times, and the things inside the jade pendant were exposed. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi were staring at the jade pendant in Lu Weishan's hand without blinking. Lin Yi was also very curious about the things inside the jade pendant, so he naturally wouldn't let it go at this time. Lu Weishan chiseled a few more times, and then used a pair of tweezers to pull slightly inside the jade pendant. He pulled out a folded piece of silk. The silk was very soft and thin. It was folded into a small piece and hidden in the jade pendant. If it wasn't for Lin Yi's accidental discovery, perhaps this piece of silk would have stayed in the jade pendant for a long time. This is it. After Lu Weishan pulled out the jade pendant, he didn't open it. Instead, he directly put it on the table and said to Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi, "Thank you, Elder Lu." Lin Yi quickly thanked him. It could be seen that Lu Weishan was an upright person. He didn't seem to have any interest in the content of the jade pendant. Instead, he turned to collect the pure topaz that was cut into small pieces on the workbench. It's nothing. It's just a piece of cake. Lu Weishan said indifferently, "Jingyi, open it and take a look." Lin Yi said. And Sun Jingyi looked at the jade pendant on the table, and she was very excited. This small piece of silk might have recorded the story of her parents and the mystery of her life experience. Regarding her parents, Sun Jingyi had asked her grandfather many times, but her grandfather avoided talking about it. Although Sun Jingyi was curious, she also saw that her grandfather might have some difficulties, so she didn't ask again. At this time, to be able to find clues from a piece of silk, Sun Jingyi's hands were slightly trembling. Carefully picking up the jade pendant, Sun Jingyi slowly opened it. She thought that this should be a letter written to her by her parents, but what she saw was a map. Map? In Sun Jingyi's view, this jade pendant shouldn't be a letter. It should be a kind of cultivation method, but she didn't expect it to be a map. This made her have an inexplicable feeling. She wanted to ask Lin Yi's opinion, but when she turned her head, she found that Lin Yi didn't look over. Sun Jingyi knew that Lin Yi might be trying to avoid suspicion. Lin Yi, look at this. This is a map. Sun Jingyi took the initiative to hand the silk pendant in her hand to Lin Yi and said, since Sun Jingyi showed it to him, then Lin Yi didn't stand on ceremony. He reached out and took the silk pendant. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1952. As expected, a map came into view, but the next moment, Lin Yi's face turned into an expression of extreme shock. This map! Lin Yi exclaimed subconsciously. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with this map? Sun Jingyi asked curiously. This map, didn't you notice? It's only half of the map, not the whole. Lin Yi pointed at the edge of the map and said to Sun Jingyi, as expected, this map is half. Sun Jingyi looked at where Lin Yi was pointing and saw that the edge of the map wasn't finished, as if it had been cut neatly. But what shocked Lin Yi wasn't that it was half of the map, but that Lin Yi had the other half of the map in his hands. After the test, Lin Yi and Zhao Qikuin met a crazy weirdo in a cave, and he was the one who gave Lin Yi the map. The same material, the same drawing style, the same color. Lin Yi was completely sure that the half of the map in his hands was originally a whole map, and then it was cut in the middle. Lin Yi, why is your face so weird? Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi and asked curiously, it's not that my face is weird, but... Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly, hesitating. After all, the map wasn't his. It could be said that the weirdo had left it in his hands. But now he was sure that the weirdo had some sort of connection with Sun Jingyi's parents. Could it be that Sun Jingyi's parents were the weirdo's disciples? Otherwise, why would Sun Jingyi have that half of the map? And the weirdo had said that the other half of the map was in the hands of his disciple. So, since this thing was related to Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi didn't hide it anymore and said, because in my hands, there's another half of the map. Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi in surprise. She didn't expect that Lin Yi was surprised because Lin Yi had the other half of the map in his hands. This answer left her at a loss. Lin Yi had the map? Where did his map come from? He knew my parents. I will explain this to you slowly. The map is not with me. It is in Donghu's villa. Lin Yi said, I will find it for you after I go back. Okay. Sun Jingyi felt that it was a little unbelievable. She had just found half of the map in the jade pendant, and the other half appeared in Lin Yi's hands. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? However, when he thought about it, he was quite lucky. If this map was in the hands of someone else, it would be impossible for them to return it to him so easily. However, Lin Yi didn't seem to have any intention of keeping it for himself. Okay, it's all collected. Lu Weishan smiled and handed a self-sealing bag to Lin Yi and said, I will pay attention to the other pure, topaz broken jade for you. As for this map, I won't participate. Thank you, Elder Lu. Lin Yi quickly took the self-sealing bag. He said with surprise and joy, Well, it's getting late. You should go back early. I think you have more important things to do. Lu Weishan said, I won't keep you. When I find the broken jade, I will contact you again. Okay, Elder Lu, then we will leave. Lin Yi nodded and left Elder Lu's residence with Sun Jingyi. It could be seen that Sun Jingyi seemed to have a lot of words to say to him, so Lin Yi didn't do too much. After going downstairs and leaving the family area and getting in the car, Sun Jingyi couldn't wait to ask, Lin, tell me, how did you get this half of the map? Do you know my parents? How can I know them? Lin Yi said with some helplessness. If I knew them, why wouldn't I tell you? This map of mine is actually not mine. It was given to me by someone else. Someone else? Sun Jingyi said, who is that? It's a strange man like an old madman. As Lin Yi said this, he told Sun Jingyi about the scene of encountering the strange man in the cave after returning from the Ice Palace trial. Then he said, at that time the strange man regarded me as his apprentice and gave me this map. Then he asked me for the other half of the map and took me on a treasure hunt. You know, I didn't want to keep this thing for myself. I wanted to find a chance to return it to him, but he ran away in the middle of the night. So, the apprentice of the strange man may be my father? Sun Jingyi suddenly thought of the origin of the map on her body. It's possible, but even if it's not, it's still a big deal. Lin Yi said, but now, since you also have half of the map, I will give this map to you. You don't want to know what treasure is in this map. Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi with some surprise. She didn't know why Lin Yi gave it to her so easily. Huh. Whatever treasure there is, it belongs to your father and the strange man. Since this jade pendant is with you, it's yours now. Lin Yi said with a smile. If it was someone else, I might really snatch it, but you are my lover. Of course, I won't snatch it from you. Okay, thank you. Sun Jingyi said sincerely. Actually, I don't really want that treasure. I just want to find some clues about my parents. I really don't like the current Sun family. They are too utilitarian. Everything they do is for the family's benefit. Since the strange man is a heaven stage master, then the treasure, he said, is definitely not bad. After you find it, it may be good for you. Lin, he said, it's just that I don't know where this map is. It should be a map near a certain mountain range, but it is not marked on it. If you want to find it, it's best to compare the situation on this map with the maps of other mountains. It could be seen that Sun Jingyi couldn't wait to find the place on the map. But Lin Yi understood how she was feeling. If it were him in her shoes, he'd be rushing to look for clues as well when he suddenly received news of his parents' whereabouts. All the way back to Dongha, Lin Yi parked the car at the door of the villa and asked, Jingyi, do you want to go in and sit down? I won't go. Sun Jingyi hesitated and said, it's already past 1 o'clock in the evening. It's too late. You give me the map. I will find a hotel to stay in. Tomorrow I will rent a house in Dongha and study this map. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1953. Date, October 20th. That's good. Lin Yi nodded. At this time, the miss and Shu should be asleep. It wasn't convenient to disturb them, so he said, then wait for me. Lin Yi got off the car and entered the mansion. As expected, the miss and Shu were asleep, but Faubert and Grandma Sun hadn't rested yet. The two of them were sitting on the sofa and chatting. Faubert seemed to be telling Grandma Sun stories from when they were young. Little E, you're back! Faubert saw Lin Yi come in and was surprised. Lin Yi went to help Grandma Sun ask about the Sun family's mental cultivation. Faubert was naturally happy to see him back. Although Faubert didn't think that Lin Yi would come back on the same day, he still waited for Lin Yi with Grandma Sun until it was very late. Moreover, they were also talking about things from when they were young. As they chatted, they lost track of time. In the blink of an eye, it was already 1 o'clock. And, Faubert, you guys haven't slept yet? Lin Yi was a little surprised. Not yet. How is it, little E, about Luo-yin? Although Faubert felt that it wasn't good for Lin Yi to ask him about these things when he just got home, he still asked because he was worried about Grandma Sunday. Ah, it's done, but there's something I need to do now. Wait for me for a while. We'll talk when I come back. Lin Yi smiled. Okay. When Faubert heard that there was news, he was immediately excited and nodded repeatedly. Grandma Sun's eyes also flashed a trace of anticipation. Before, Faubert told her so many things from the past, but she couldn't remember anything. This feeling was very uncomfortable. If Lin Yi could help her recover her memory, it would be really great. Lin Yi returned to the room and found the half of the map from the cabinet in the room. Then he quickly left the mansion and went to the car. He said to Sun Jingyi, "This is it. Take a look and see if it's one of them." Sun Jingyi excitedly took the half of the map that Lin Yi handed over and put it together with the half in her hand. The result was exactly the same as before. It really is a... Jingyi's breathing quickened as she looked at the map in her hands. Perhaps this map would be able to help them. He would be able to find clues about his parents. Let me send you to the hotel. You can study it slowly when the time comes, Lin Yi said with a smile as he looked at Sun Jingyi, who was engrossed in the map. I'm sorry, I was a little anxious. Sun Jingyi quickly said, "It's nothing if it were me. It will be the same." Lin Yi shook his head and started the car. There was a 3-star hotel nearby called Shueshang Hotel. It was developed by the same developer as Shueshang District, and the environment was not bad. The price was not expensive. Of course, this hotel was targeted at young couples. If the price was too expensive, ordinary people would not be able to afford it. After sending Sun Jingyi to the hotel, when Sun Jingyi got off the car, she was a little hesitant. She seemed to have something to say. "What's wrong?" Lin Yi asked curiously. "Lin Yi, if I find the location of this map, can you accompany me? Can you come with me for a bit?" Jingyi knew that this request was a little too much, but she couldn't help but think about it. Lin Yi was the only one who could go with her. Ugh. Looking at Sun Jingyi's expectant eyes, Lin Yi hesitated and said, "Well, if I have nothing to do, I will accompany you. Actually, I also want to know what the treasure that the weird man said is." And great. When Sun Jingyi heard Lin Yi agree, she was a little excited. "If that treasure is useless to me, I will give it to you." "Oh, that's not necessary. I don't want any reward for accompanying you. I just regard you as my friend," said Lin Yi. "Just a friend?" Sun Jingyi squinted her eyes. "Lovers should have some substantial progress, right?" Lin Yi also looked at Sun Jingyi with a smile. Bo! When Lin Yi was unprepared, Sun Jingyi quickly kissed the side of Lin Yi's face. Then her face was obviously red, but she thought that Lin Yi wouldn't see it because the sky was dark. She pretended to be calm and said, "Is it okay now?" Lin Yi didn't guard against Sun Jingyi, so she succeeded in a sneak attack. He touched the cheek that was kissed, and he suddenly felt a little dumbfounded. Is this playing with fire? It was just a joke. Now, the relationship between the two people seems to be even more unclear than before. However, Lin Yi often joked with Sun Jingyi. At this time, after being kissed, Lin Yi also let it go. "Isn't this too little? Why don't I stay here tonight?" "Go to hell." Sun Jingyi was joking with Lin Yi. At this time, when she heard that Lin Yi was actually asking for a foot after taking an inch, her heart suddenly tightened. "I am not ready yet, and he is already getting a room?" So Sun Jingyi subconsciously retorted, and was about to get out of the car. However, when she looked up and saw Lin Yi's evil and mischievous smile, Sun Jingyi knew that she was fooled. She snorted and said, "Then you can come up." "You really want me to go up?" Lin Yi asked with a smile. "Let's go. I'm going to study the map." Sun Jingyi found that in front of Lin Yi, it seemed that she had never taken advantage of him. It seemed that she had taken advantage of him every time. But in fact, Lin Yi didn't take her seriously at all. Seeing that Sun Jingyi entered the hotel safely, Lin Yi turned around and left, returning to the villa. After returning, Lin Yi found that not only did Faubert and Grandma Sun not sleep, but they were even more energetic, obviously waiting for Lin Yi to come back. "Little Yi, you're back." Faubert saw that Lin Yi came back and quickly stood up, giving up the seat next to Grandma Sunday. Seeing Faubert's nervous look, Lin Yi didn't know what to say, but he also understood Faubert's mood, smiled and said, "Faubert, don't worry. Let me see your Nigong first." Mine. Faubert was slightly stunned. Yes, it's yours. Lin, he said. In fact, it was a wasted trip. After I went there, I remembered the characteristics of the Sun family's Nigong. Grandma Sun was your wife. She naturally assisted you in your practice. So her true qi is the same as yours. I just need to check if your true qi is the same as the true qi in Grandma Sun's head. That's right. Faubert slapped the back of his head and showed a look of realization. I'm really sorry I forgot about this. If I knew this earlier, I wouldn't have let you go back. It's not really a lot of trouble. There are some other gains. Lin, he didn't regret looking for Sun Jingyi. Not only did he help Sun Jingyi find the map, but he also got the pure topaz. To be continued. Vote recommendation. Monthly vote, etc. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1954. Date, October 20th. How was this a little gain? It could be said that it was a great gain. Of course, there were some secrets that even Faubert and Lin he couldn't say. About the jade space, Lin he couldn't reveal it to anyone yet. It wasn't that Lin he didn't trust them, but it was because Lin Yi's strength hadn't reached that level yet. If Lin Yi was a peak late stage heaven class master now, he wouldn't have hidden it from Faubert. Then hurry up and check. Faubert quickly reached out his hand and said, Okay. Seeing Faubert's anxious look, Lin Yi didn't say anything more and directly checked Faubert's qi. After a while, Lin Yi's face showed a satisfied look and said, There's no mistake. It's the qi in Grandma Sun's head. Then, can I help her get rid of the true qi expelling Chapter 1966? Very dejected? Faubert was surprised and happy after hearing Lin Yi's words. He was most worried that the qi in Sun Luoyue's head was caused by an enemy. If there were any malicious tricks, it would be troublesome. But now it seemed that this was unnecessary. There are two ways. One is for me to force Grandma Sun's qi out of her body. Although this method is feasible, I'm not very proficient in it yet. Lin Yi said honestly. The second level of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi could only describe it as relatively smooth, but he was still far from being proficient in it. Lin Yi also needed a lot of effort to force out his own fire qi. Now that he was using it on Grandma Sun, Lin Yi really didn't have much confidence. What about the second method? Faubert quickly asked. The second method is more certain. There won't be any danger, but the effect may be slower. It's not something that can be done overnight. Lin Yi said, that is to let Grandma Sun recultivate the Sun family's internal energy, cultivation method. Once Grandma Sun successfully cultivates it, she will be able to dissolve the internal energy on her own. HM. Chapter 1966. Very depressing, then let's go with the second option. Li Fu said after some hesitation, choosing the second option without hesitation. After all, this method would definitely not be dangerous. Although it was a little slow, Faubert had waited for so many years. A little more time would not make a difference. If the first method went wrong, it would be too late for regrets. Actually, I also suggest using the second method. Lin Yi said, I've already got the Sun family's mental cultivation method. It's in my phone. I'll forward it to you later. But although this mental cultivation method was practiced by Grandma Sun before, it's best not to spread it. After all, I got it from Sun Jingyi. I understand. Faubert nodded and said, Even if you don't say it, I won't casually say it. After all, this involves the enemies of the past. If they know that Luo Yin and I are not dead, they will definitely come to the door again. We are not opponents of those people. Lin Yi didn't say anything more. He sent the document sent by Sun Jingyi to Faubert and then went back to the room to rest. Back in the room, Lin Yi couldn't wait to open the jade pendant condensation method. This was the version that Lin Yi had copied. The original version was left in the West Star Mountain Village. Now there was pure topaz, but there was no news of color steel and blue crystal powder. Before, Lin Yi didn't study this condensation method carefully, but now that the pure topaz was in his hands, Lin Yi was naturally a little excited. He began to carefully study the condensation method of the jade pendant. However, what made Lin Yi puzzled was that this condensation method didn't specify how much pure topaz, blue crystal powder, and color steel was needed. Without the quantity, how could Lin Yi collect the materials? Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't help but wonder, Jiao Lao, how many materials do you need to condense this jade pendant? As much as you have, Jiao Lao said faintly. As much as you have? What do you mean? Lin Yi didn't understand what Jiao Yazi meant. The more materials, the larger the condensed storage space. What's there to understand? Jiao Yazi explained faintly. Ugh, if that's the case, then can it only be condensed once? Lin Yi asked. No, you can condense as many times as you want. Every time you collect the materials, you can continue condensing. Lin Yi said. So that's how it is. Lin Yi was enlightened. Doesn't that mean that the storage space of this jade pendant can be condensed into an infinite size? In theory, yes. Didn't you notice that the space inside the jade pendant is actually an infinite fourth-dimensional space? Jiao Yazi said matter-of-factly, it's just that at present, these spaces can only store all-purpose energy and can't store other items. That means that the condensation of the jade pendant space actually turns a part of the jade pendant space that can only store all-purpose energy into a storage space? Lin Yi asked. You can understand it that way, but the four-dimensional space in the jade pendant space is theoretically infinite, Jiao Yazi said. Lin Yi was speechless after listening to Jiao Yazi's explanation. Previously, Lin Yi thought that his jade pendant was an ancient product, but as he learned more about the functions of the jade pendant, why did he feel that it was more and more high-tech? Even the four-dimensional space appeared, of course. Lin Yi was too lazy to ask Jiao Yazi about these things, because Jiao Yazi didn't know. He was just a phantom. To put it bluntly, he was like a computer. There was a limit to what he knew, so it was useless to ask. After putting away the pure yellow jade, Lin Yi continued practicing the art of dragon mastery. Before he gathered the other two materials, Lin Yi couldn't make the jade space, so he could only put it aside for now. The next morning, Lin Yi drove Mengyao and Yushu to school. While Faubert stayed at home to train with Grandma Sunday Lin, he felt a gloomy atmosphere when he came to the dorm. Everyone seemed to be in low spirits, and by Wei-Tuo looked like he had lost a lot of money. What's wrong with you guys? Was there a break-in yesterday? Lin Yi looked at the three people in front of him, confused. Lin bro, you're back. Bai Wei-Tuo's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Yi but then dimmed. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi might be good at other things, but he wouldn't be of much help in the freshman party. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be absent from the class rehearsals. It was obvious that he wasn't good at these things. I'm back. What's wrong with you guys? Lin Yi didn't know what was going on. Geez, Lin bro, I'm really done for this time. Bai Wei-Tuo said with a sad face. That Zhang Duopen kid, it's just as you said, he actually played dirty. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1955. Date, October 20th. What's wrong with him? Lin Yi frowned. For the freshman party, he actually invited a celebrity to be the lead singer. Although it's a celebrity who just debuted, he's quite famous in the country. With a celebrity as the host, I'm afraid the student council will have to give him some face no matter what and rank their performance. Bai Wei-Tuo said dejectedly, a celebrity came to our school's freshman party. If we don't rank them, it'll be too disrespectful. So what if he's a celebrity? Even if he doesn't sing well, he can still get a rank? Lin Yi wasn't too interested in celebrities and said disapprovingly. Su Sherhan was nothing in front of him. In Lin Yi's eyes, she was just a pretty girl who could sing and dance. She wasn't even as attractive as Miss and Shu, let alone a celebrity who wasn't that famous. Let's not talk about the fact that Zhang Duopan's class is singing the celebrity's famous song. They already have an advantage. It's just the student council. They won't offend a celebrity over such a small matter. Bai Weitua had been in the school for a long time, so he knew the logic behind this. The student council sometimes organizes some charity events and invites some celebrities. They're all trying to get close to those celebrities, so why wouldn't they give them some face? Zhang Duopan must have a master guiding him from behind. That's why he came up with such a trick. Let's not talk about how my singing is just SOSO. Even if I sing well, I'm still no match for a celebrity. Oh, so you're saying that as long as it's a celebrity they can get a rank? Lin Yi understood what Bai Weitua meant. Of course, it can't be too bad. Bai Weitua said, forget about those celebrities who are famous for disgusting people. Then why don't we invite a celebrity too? Lin Yi said, I say, brother, it's not that easy to invite a celebrity. Zhang Duopan is a rich second generation. His family has a lot of money, his dad is a big boss, and his social connections are great. It's not a big deal to find a celebrity, but Bai Weitua shook his head. We might not be able to invite one even with money. Oh, leave it to me. I'll try. Lin Yi thought for a moment and asked, if we invite a celebrity who is more famous than Zhang Duopan, will our ranking be higher? That's for sure. When the time comes, all the members of the student union will be in charge of voting and scoring. Although there is a celebrity effect. Whoever is popular will have the highest number of votes. Bai Weitua said, I understand. Lin Yi nodded. Boss, are you really going to invite a celebrity? Bai Weitua looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He didn't expect Lin Yi to invite him just like that. He had a matter-of-fact look on his face, as if it was easy to invite a celebrity. Are you ready to give up on Himeiwa? Lin Yi asked. Of course not. Bai Weitua shook his head and replied without thinking. That's it. If I don't invite you, you lose, right? Lin Yi said. Can you really invite him? Bai Weitua looked at Lin Yi doubtfully. I don't know. I'll make a call and ask. Lin Yi said. Ugh. Bai Weitua heard Lin Yi say he'll make a call and was a bit discouraged. The celebrity Zhang Duopan invited is the coffee girl, Cheng Yi. Although she just became famous recently, I heard that she's Su Shirhan's junior marshal sister. With Su Shirhan's help, I'm afraid he'll be able to overshadow her. It's a bit difficult. Plus, Himeiwa's idol is Su Shirhan. Naturally, she likes Cheng Yi as well. This time, Zhang Duopan is obviously trying to please Himeiwa. Sigh. Oh, a junior marshal sister from the same sect. Then just invite Su Shirhan. She won't be able to say anything. Lin Yi heard Bai Weitua's words and let out a sigh of relief. If it was Su Shirhan's junior marshal sister, it would be even more impossible to overshadow Su Shirhan. Ah, invite Su Shirhan? Bai Weitua's eyes widened. Lin bro, you're not joking, right? Su Shirhan. She hasn't even held a concert in Donghe. How can she come to our school's freshman party? I don't know. Let's ask. Lin Yi took out his phone. He started rummaging through the phone book. Bai Weitua, Zhao Xingji, and Song Xiaodao looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. They couldn't understand. How did Lin Yi know Su Shirhan? Or did he know other friends who knew Su Shirhan? The call went through. Su Shirhan didn't pick up for a long time. The number you have dialed is currently unavailable. Lin Yi shook his head and hung up. Lin bro, how is it? Bai Weitua didn't have much hope, but he still couldn't help but ask. No one picked up. Lin Yi said. Bai Weitua didn't think that Lin Yi could find Su Shirhan, so he wasn't surprised when Lin Yi said no one picked up. If anyone could get through a superstar's phone, they wouldn't be a superstar. It's okay. If it really doesn't work, I'll give up. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Looking at Bai Weitua's face, Lin Yi shook his head. Forget it. I'll try again. Then, Lin Yi picked up his phone again. He was about to call again. However, Lin Yi's phone rang first. Looking at the caller ID, Lin Yi smiled and picked up. Lin Yi, you're looking for me? Su Sherhan's sweet voice came from the other side. I was busy just now. The phone is with Wang sis. Wang sis told me that you called me, so I called immediately. Oh, I was about to call you again. Lin Yi said, faintly. Su Sherhan's enthusiasm was exchanged with a few indifferent words from Lin Yi. She was a superstar. What she said just now was to take credit from Lin Yi. If it was someone else, Su Sherhan wouldn't even bother to call back. But Lin Yi didn't seem to be flattered at all. But thinking about every time she went to his house, Lin Yi basically just greeted her and went back to his room. He didn't say anything. This made Su Sherhan feel that her charm had decreased every time she saw Lin Yi. What's the matter? Su Sherhan said helplessly. Do you have time recently? Come and help me. Lin Yi said. Help? Sure. Even if I don't have time, you can find me. Su Sherhan was very grateful to Lin Yi. It was him who cured her headache. It was also him who saw through Yao Wang's plot. Otherwise, if she really took Yao Wang's medicine, the consequences would be unimaginable. Oh, there's a freshman party in our school. Come over and bring our classmates to perform. That's it, Lin Yi said. To be continued. Recommendation votes, monthly votes. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1956. Date, October 20th, freshman party. Performance. Su Sherhan was speechless. What did Lin Yi find for her? She was a top star in Asia, yet she was attending a freshman party. However, since Lin Yi invited her, she couldn't refuse. She said, I've rejected all the other people who asked me to hold a concert, but I promise you that I will attend the freshman party. Thank you, Lin Yi said. No need to thank me. Who told you to cure my headache? I should be the one thanking you. Su Sherhan said, When is it? Wait, let me ask, Lin Yi said and turned to Bai Wei to awe. When is the freshman party? The night after tomorrow, Bai Wei Tuo said subconsciously. The night after tomorrow, Lin Yi said to Su Sherhan. Where are you, Songshan? Su Sherhan remembered the time and asked. No, I'm at Donghai Industry University, Lin Yi said. I understand. I'll go there tomorrow. Can you pick me up at the airport? Su Sherhan asked. Okay, I'll pick you up. Lin Yi didn't mind being a chauffeur since he needed someone to do something for him. Su Sherhan was attending the event on her own, so the organizer wouldn't prepare a car. Then I'll see you tomorrow, Su Sherhan said. However, as soon as Su Sherhan finished speaking, Wang Sis' voice came from the other side. Han, didn't we agree to shoot the cover of the new album tomorrow? Oh, I'll do it in a few days. Su Sherhan said carelessly. What's up? Lin Yi asked. Nothing, I dropped it, Su Sherhan said. Then I'm really flattered. You have quite a lot of face, Lin Yi joked. You finally know how big your face is? I thought you didn't know. Su Sherhan snorted and hung up the phone. Lin Yi shook his head helplessly, but when he raised his head, he saw the 3 guys in the dormitory looking at him in disbelief. Big brother Lin, you really know Su Sherhan? Bai Wei Tuo asked in disbelief. Yes, she agreed. Lin Yi nodded. It can't be. Bai Wei Tuo pinched his face hard. Am I dreaming? Big brother Lin, you're too awesome. It feels so good to turn defeat into victory. Bai Wei Tuo didn't doubt the authenticity of Lin Yi's call at all, because in his eyes, there was no need for Lin Yi to lie to him. Calling Su Sherhan meant calling Su Sherhan, but Bai Wei Tuo was a little surprised. Lin Yi even knew Su Sherhan, and he seemed to be quite familiar with her. Shouldn't we go to class? Lin Yi said. It's no problem for me to ask for leave, but if you don't go to class, I'm afraid boss Bai won't let you go easily, right? Damn class. Bai Wei Tuo looked at his watch and quickly put on his coat and ran out of the dorm. When he came to the classroom, Lin Yi saw Han Jingjing sitting next to Wang Xinyan. She was whispering something to Xinyan which made Linny frown. He'd gotten used to sitting at the same table with Xinyan these past couple of days, and Han Jingjing was taking his seat. He wasn't used to it. However, when Han Jingjing saw Lin Yi, she stood up and sat behind him, giving the seat to Lin Yi. This made Lin Yi a little surprised. Seeing Han Jingjing's action, Wang Xinyan blushed. This was too obvious. Anyone could see that her relationship with Lin Yi wasn't normal. Otherwise, in a class, there would only be two girls together. Lin Yi didn't care so much and directly sat next to Wang Xinyan. "You've recovered from your cold." "And it's much better." Wang Xinyan thought of the ambiguous scene in the car yesterday, and her face became even redder. "Big brother Lin Yi, didn't you ask for leave today? Why are you here again? If I knew you would come to school today, I would have hitchhiked with you." Han Jingjing sat behind Lin Yi and said to Lin Yi, how did she know he asked for leave? But thinking of yesterday, he told Bai Weitua that he might not come today and asked him to ask for leave on his behalf. It should be from Bai Weitua yesterday, or Wang Xinyan told her yesterday afternoon. "Don't you have your own car?" Lin Yi asked back. "Didn't you already know the classroom? Why do you still hitchhiked? Aren't we saving energy and reducing emissions now? People don't drive. Sitting in your car can protect the environment." Han Jingjing said matter-of-factly. "It's more environmentally friendly to walk." Lin Yi said with some speechlessness. "There's a hitchhiker. Why do I walk? Isn't that stupid?" Han Jingjing asked with a surprised face. Lin Yi was speechless about Han Jingjing's IQ. This girl wouldn't have 100,000 whys, right? She was always saying why and whys, but it seemed like she was very reasonable, so Linny didn't know how to answer. "If I buy a car and let you hitchhike, isn't that stupid?" "Why? You don't have to spend a penny more for gas. It's on the way anyway." Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi strangely. "But why should I give you a ride? According to what you said, can I live in your villa?" Lin Yi had a headache because of Han Jingjing's thinking. "Because we are neighbors and classmates. Do you want to live in my villa? Okay, I'll help you clean up a room at night. It just so happens that my brother and I are scared." Han Jingjing said, "Okay, you can continue to hitchhiker. Forget about cleaning up the room." Lin Yi was defeated. This girl's thinking was too weird. Lin Yi felt that if he continued to argue with her, it would only become more and more troublesome. He might even become crazy. Wang Xinyan saw Lin Yi being defeated and couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. This Han Jingjing was really interesting, and the questions she asked were so cute. Han Jingjing's mouth flashed a trace of a successful smile, and Lin Yi didn't say anything because Boss Bai had arrived, just as Boss Bai said. Most of the courses in the medical profession were taught by him part-time. Lin Yi's medical skills, under the training of old Lin since he was young, was already at the top level. But unexpectedly, some of Boss Bai's theories gave Lin Yi a refreshing feeling. It was clearly some of the most basic pharmacology knowledge, but it gave Lin Yi a lot of inspiration. Lin Yi glanced at Tiger Right, noticing that the two followers beside him were doing nothing, while Tiger Right, on the other hand, was focused on Boss Bai's explanation. This discovery also proved that Boss Bai was extraordinary. To be continued. Cast recommendation votes, monthly votes, etc. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1957. Date, October 20th. The hidden house you could be said to be a medical family, and the fact that the children of the house you could listen to Boss Bai's class so attentively, especially someone as arrogant as Yu Panhu. This made Lin Yi feel that Boss Bai was not a normal person. In a small town near Donghe, in a luxurious manner, two brothers were sitting in front of a computer in the study, replaying the video footage over and over again. These two brothers were the two Ferrari drivers that Lin Yi met on his way to Songjiang. "Brother, is there still no news? It's taking so long to find out who the license plate belongs to. Uncle Hanjo's information network isn't too good." The one who spoke was the younger brother in the Ferrari, Han Xiaoling, and the one driving the Ferrari was the older brother, Han Xiaopa. Uncle Hanjiu has always been in charge of our hidden house of Han's information network, but there's still no news. It's not that his network isn't good. It's that the owner of the car isn't a normal person. Han Xiaopa was one of the successors of the hidden house of Han, so he had a clearer view of things. He immediately noticed the problem. Ah, brother, then if the owner isn't a normal person, will he still help us participate in the race? Han Xiaoling asked. I don't know, but we need to see which power he belongs to first. If he isn't from a hidden house, then as long as we bring out enough benefits and sincerity, there shouldn't be a problem. Han Xiaopa said. Oh, Han Xiaoling was Han Xiaopa's biological brother, so he was very close to Han Xiaopa in the hidden house of Han. The hidden house of Han was a hidden house that kept a very low profile. The hidden house of Han started out 10 years ago, and the head of the house of Han was originally a lone practitioner, and his strength was only at the early phase of the mystic class. However, 15 years ago, the head of the house of Han found an ancient ruin and obtained a golden pill. After swallowing it, his strength soared from the early phase of the mystic class all the way to the early phase of the earth class. Along with the treasures from the ancient ruin, the old man of the house of Han, a lone practitioner, successfully became a member of the hidden house. However, the hidden house Han's foundation was still too shallow. Other than old man Han, who was an earth class early phase master, the second generation of the family was at most mystic class, and the third generation was pitifully golden class. If it wasn't for the fact that they had obtained the treasures from the ancient ruins and that the Han family had come at a good time, they wouldn't have been able to survive. The Hidden House Arbitration Association had just been established, and this series of events had allowed the Han family to become a member of the Hidden House by chance. However, old man Han understood that his family's foundation was too shallow. If an old hidden family obtained the treasures from the ancient ruins, then not only would they not have to worry, they might even become an ancient family. Because even if they didn't have a heaven-class expert, they would still have a peak late phase earth-class expert overseeing them. According to the agreement between the ancient sects and ancient families, heaven-class experts couldn't casually make a move. Therefore, earth-class late phase peak could basically sit back and relax. But the Han family was different. A man's wealth was his own ruin. The Han family had been developing in a low profile these past few years. The Ice Palace trials, the Hidden House Arbitration Association's Elder Council, those were things they wouldn't participate in. The only thing they wanted to do was rest and slowly increase the family's strength. Once the family had a peak late phase Earth class expert, or even a heaven class expert, that would be the day the Han family would soar. Of course, with the restrictions of the Hidden House Arbitration Association, the other houses hadn't done anything to the Han family. But recently, old man Han had heard some bad news. The Grand Elder of the Hidden House Arbitration Association had disappeared. The other hidden houses had started to stir as well. Although they didn't have any intentions of making a move against the Hidden House Han, they had made some strange suggestions and requests. That was to hold a few competitions during the Hidden House Summit. The events of the competition were also different. There were martial arts competitions, art competitions, endurance competitions, strength competitions, and even racing competitions. In every round of the competition, every hidden house would take out a treasure as a wager. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that this competition was aimed at the weak house of Han. This was because the hidden house of Han was too weak. They were so weak that they couldn't even win a single battle. However, these battles covered a wide range of areas and seemed to be fair. So even if the hidden house of Han knew that the hidden houses couldn't sit still anymore and wanted to covet the hidden house of Han's treasures, they couldn't refuse. Refusing to participate in the Hidden House Summit was the same as giving up their right to be a hidden house. Without the protection of the Hidden House title, even the Hidden House Arbitration Association wouldn't care about the life and death of the hidden house. At that time, the hidden houses would definitely make a move on the hidden house Han, but this was a dead end. They knew that there would be losses, and they would definitely have to take out some treasures. But under these circumstances, the hidden house Han could only pinch their noses and accept it. Who asked them to be weak? When he saw Lin Yi's driving skills by chance, Han Xiaopa had the mentality of trying to save a dead horse. If they could win one race, even if it was just one, it would be a victory for the House Han. It was better than losing all the competitions. Even if the House Han had to pay a certain price, it didn't matter. After all, this was related to the hidden House Han's reputation. As he spoke, Han Xiaopa's phone rang. Seeing the familiar name, Han Xiaopa relaxed a little. Finally, there was news. Ninth uncle. Han Xiaopa answered the phone respectfully. Ninth Uncle Han wasn't a direct relative of the Han family, but he was one of his grandfather's followers. The ancient ruins were discovered by him and his grandfather. However, Ninth Uncle Han was about the same age as Han Xiaopa's father, so he was considered an uncle. Master Pa, we've investigated the ownership of the car, but we can't get the owner's information, Ninth Uncle Han said. What? No information on the owner? Han Xiaopa was slightly taken aback. The car belongs to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Our information channels aren't strong enough to find a secret of this level. If we ask for help, we might not be able to find someone who knows the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Even if they do, we might not be able to find them, Ninth Uncle Han said. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau. No wonder. I heard that there are many capable people there. Han Xiaopa suddenly understood. Although the practitioners of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau weren't as powerful as the hidden houses, they were far superior in other aspects. This was because they had many all-round talents, not to mention his superb driving skills. It was easy for him to do stunts with an airplane. RG, target equals _blank. Chapter 1958. However, according to the information we received from our people, we found that the car was heading towards East Ocean City from the surveillance cameras of several nearby highways. Book C Pavilion Ninth Uncle said, according to our informants in East Ocean City, the car is currently parked at East Ocean Industry University. Ninth Uncle, you really scared me to death. I thought we wouldn't be able to find anything. I didn't expect you to have already found out. Han Xiaopa was very happy when he heard Ninth Uncle Han's words. Young Master Pa, what I said earlier was just to point out this person's background. Ninth Uncle Han's voice was still calm. Han Xiaopa was stunned for a moment, but he immediately understood what Ninth Uncle Han meant. If Ninth Uncle Han didn't say it in such detail and directly told him where the person was, Han Xiaopa would have gone to look for him. If he had been the slightest bit negligent, the negotiation would have definitely failed. Thinking of this, Han Xiaopa couldn't help but feel grateful. According to the school's security registration, the car owner is a student at East Ocean Industry University. The rest is still under investigation. Ninth Uncle Han paused for a moment. It seemed that he also thought it was strange that a student from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be a student. A student? Han Xiaopa was stunned. How could a student be from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? I'm not sure yet, but I have reported this to the head of the family. Perhaps the head of the family will call for a family meeting soon. Young Master Pa, please be prepared. Book C Pavilion Ninth Uncle Han said. Thank you so much, Ninth Uncle. Han Xiaopa couldn't help but feel touched after hearing Ninth Uncle Han's words. The family meeting was a good opportunity to show one's face in public. As long as one made reasonable suggestions during the family meeting, one would be valued by his grandfather. Although the heir to the head of the family hadn't been appointed yet, Ninth Uncle Han obviously thought highly of Han Xiaopa. In Han Xiaopa's generation, the only one who could compete with him was his second uncle's son, Han Xiaochun. However, although Han Xiaochun was capable, He was narrow-minded and always went against Han Xiaopa. Ninth Uncle Han didn't like his personality. As expected, half an hour later, Han Xiaopa received a notice from the family members that a family meeting would be held in the assembly hall. In Han Xiaopa's generation, only he and Han Xiaochun had the right to participate in the family meeting. Both of them were being groomed as successors to the family. Han Xiaopa quickly arrived at the conference room, but Han Xiaochun arrived first. Old Master Han, the second-generation members of the Han family, and ninth Uncle Han were all present. Han Xiaopa was the last to arrive. It seemed that the disciple who had called for the meeting was probably someone from Han Xiaochun's side, and had deliberately made Han Xiaopa look bad. "I'm sorry, Grandpa. I'm late." Han Xiaopa looked at the people in the conference room and apologized. "All right, sit down." Grandfather Han wasn't an idiot. He knew that Han Xiaopa wouldn't be late on purpose. He knew what was going on, but he couldn't be bothered to point it out. "Yes, Grandpa." Han Xiaopa nodded and sat on his seat. Han Xiaochun's eyes flashed with disappointment. Han Xiaopa's lateness didn't incur his grandpa's wrath. This made Han Xiaochun's efforts a little wasted. "Xiaopa, I heard from your ninth Uncle Han that you found a racer with superb driving skills. You want him to represent the Hidden Han family in the upcoming Hidden Family Summit. Is that true?" Grandfather Han waited for Han Xiaopa to sit down and then asked, "Yes, Grandpa." Han Xiaopa nodded and told him about the Jeep Cherokee he saw on the highway. He then added, "Grandpa, I think that if it's possible, we should invite this person to represent us in the race, no matter what. Otherwise, I'm afraid our Hidden Han family won't be able to win in the end. This concerns our Hidden Han family's reputation. Not bad." Old Man Han nodded in praise. Little Pa didn't go out for nothing this time, always thinking about the family's interests. That's what everyone in the Hidden Han family should learn. Our Hidden Han family originally didn't have any hope in this Hidden Family Summit. But if Little Pa can invite this person, then we'll be able to save some face for our Han family. We won't lose so miserably. Old Nine, have you investigated this person's background? Tell us, and we'll see how we can invite him. Yes. Ninth Uncle Han nodded and told everyone the results of his investigation. "Xiaopa, what do you think? You were the one who suggested this idea. What do you think we should pay to invite this person to race for us?" Grandfather Han looked at Han Xiaopa and asked, "Grandpa, since this person is from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, then I don't think he'll be interested in ordinary benefits. I think that as long as we can invite this person, even if we have to give him all the treasures after winning, it'll be worth it." Han Xiaopa said, "Big brother, are you stupid? Treasures after winning? That's not just our Han family's treasures. Every participating family will put up a treasure as a bet. When the time comes, he'll get the treasures of all the families. Don't you think that's a bit too generous?" Han Xiaochun didn't wait for Han Xiaopa to finish and retorted coldly, "Or are you colluding with outsiders to embezzle the Han family's benefits?" "I embezzle the Han family's benefits." Han Xiaopa looked at Han Xiaochun with a smile that wasn't a smile. "You know, if we don't invite him, we'll definitely lose the race. With our family's resources, it's not even enough for him to look at. He's just a student, even if he's related to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. We, the Hidden Han family, are asking him for help because we think highly of him. When the time comes, we'll just give them any of our family's treasures. Won't he obediently help?" Han Xiaochun snorted coldly and said, "Although our Hidden Han family isn't one of the top families among the hidden families, if we say something, even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau will have to give us face. Xiaochun is right about this. If we give him all the treasures, then our Han family will really be at a loss. Giving him one treasure is already very impressive." Grandfather Han nodded, agreeing with Han Xiaochun. "Grandpa, if he doesn't show his sincerity, I can't promise to invite him." Han Xiaopa sighed. He didn't know why, but Han Xiaopa just felt that the person driving the Jeep Cherokee wasn't someone who was easy to talk to. He wasn't someone who could be invited easily. Big brother, if you think your ability is limited, then leave this to me. I'll invite him, and I guarantee it'll be done. Han Xiaochun patted his chest and promised. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1959. Oh. Grandfather Han turned to look at Han Xiaochun and asked, Book Ocean Pavilion, net. Han Xiaochun laughed coldly. When the time comes, we'll bring a mystic late-phase peak master. That'll scare him to death. Even if we don't give him any benefits, he'll still come and help. Threats and promises are fine, carrot and stick. Since Xiaochun said so, then we'll leave this to him, Grandpa Han said faintly. Han Xiaopa opened his mouth, but gave up in the end. No matter how he looked at it, he didn't think that the other party was that simple. Since Han Xiaochun had a way, then let him do it. He wouldn't get involved. Yes, Grandpa, don't worry, I'll do it well. Han Xiaochun turned to look at Ninth Uncle Han and asked, Ninth Uncle, did you find out the person's name? There's no news yet. Our family also has a branch family studying at Donghai Industry University. I've already asked them to find out who the owner of the Jeep Cherokee is. Ninth Uncle Han said. We should have news soon. As he spoke, Uncle Han Joe's phone rang. Uncle Han Joe picked up the phone and said a few words. Then his expression changed and became extremely strange. After a while, Ninth Uncle Han said, Okay, I got it. You guys continue the investigation. Ninth, how is it? Is there news? Grandpa Han couldn't help but ask when he saw the strange expression on Ninth Uncle Han's face. Book Ocean Pavilion, net. Yes, Master, there's news. Ninth Uncle Han nodded and said, This student is called Lin Yi. He's a new medical student at Donghai Industry University. Oh, Lin Yi, a new student. I got it. Han Xiaochun nodded and said, I'll go find him in a bit. Young Master Chun, this person's name is Lin Yi. Ninth Uncle Han repeated the name and emphasized it. Lin Yi, Lin Yi. Ah, that Lin Yi? Han Xiaochun's heart skipped a beat. He thought of an existence that was taboo in the various hidden families. The hidden House Yu, and House Zhao wanted to cause trouble for him, but all of them returned empty-handed. Not only did they fail to do anything to Lin Yi, but all of their masters died. Could it be that this Lin Yi was that Lin Yi? Thinking up to here, Han Xiaochun's face changed, and he cried bitterly in his heart. Just now he had sworn that he would threaten and bribe them, bringing a mystic class late-phase peak master to threaten them. What a joke! One had to know that even an Earth-class late-phase master was killed by Lin Yi, let alone a peak mystic late-phase master. Bringing a mystic late-phase peak to cause trouble was asking for death. Young Master Chun, although I haven't found out if these two Lin Yis are the same person, whether it's House Yu, or House Zhao, they all kept quiet and didn't reveal too much information about Lin Yi, so I can't be sure yet. Ninth Uncle Han said with a normal face, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. Don't you love to be in the limelight? Why are you stunned now? Ugh. Han Xiaochun thought of Lin Yi's lightning-fast killing methods, and his heart went cold. In the eyes of these hidden house disciples, Lin Yi was no different from a demon king. He was terrifying to the extreme. He was going to talk terms with Lin Yi, but if he didn't succeed and got killed right away, then he'd die for nothing. No one from the hidden house would dare to stand up for him. The hidden House Yu, House Zhao, and House Yu all suffered in silence, let alone the hidden house Han? Brother, you already know this person's information. When are you going to go look for him? Han Xiaopa was amused as well. Where was that arrogance from before? He was dumbfounded when he heard the name. Big brother, my abilities are limited, you should go. After all, You were the one who found this person, so it's more reasonable for you to go. Han Xiaochun didn't dare to go anymore, unless he didn't want to live anymore. Daring to talk terms with a violent maniac like Lin Yi, wasn't that looking for death? Old Han's face turned red and white as well. This was a slap in the face. However, he didn't have the slightest intention of getting angry. If this Lin Yi was the same Lin Yi, sending Han Xiaochun to look for him without knowing was the same as asking the Hidden House Han to die. There was a Hidden House Arbitration Association to mediate between the hidden houses, but when it came to the common world, Lin Yi didn't have much to say. If Lin Yi wanted to destroy the Hidden House Han, then it wouldn't be a difficult task. When that time comes, thinking of this, old Han broke out in a cold sweat and said to Han Xiaopa, "Xiaopa still has foresight. We didn't act impulsively, or else if we really did, as Xiaochun said, the consequences would be unthinkable. Xiaochun is still not mature enough." Han Xiaochun was very displeased. "You clearly agreed with my suggestion just now, and even told me to go with the carrot and the stick, but now you're saying that I'm not mature enough." This made him very depressed, but he didn't dare to refute, because if he did, wouldn't he make his grandfather lose face? So he could only endure it helplessly. "Yes, you're right, grandfather," Han Xiaochun said gloomily. "Xiaopa, you should go talk to Lin Yi about this. No matter what, even if he wants more, we have to rope him in, as long as he can become a friend of our Hidden House Han. The other hidden houses will have to think about their own strength if they want to touch us." Old Han was looking further ahead. Although he was snobbish, he was extremely cunning. Otherwise, the Hidden House Han would still be in decline for so many years. Old Han still had some tricks up his sleeve. If it wasn't for the fact that he had told the children of the family to keep a low profile and not go out to cause trouble or earn money, those hidden families would have found an excuse to deal with the Hidden House of Han. But Old Man Han would rather sit back and enjoy his wealth than be caught red-handed. That was where he was smart. So he saw hope in Lin Yi. Although Lin Yi was a star of misfortune and had a grudge with many hidden houses, being close to Lin Yi would mean offending House Yu, House Xiao, and House Yu, but that wasn't the case. Even without the relationship with Lin Yi, these houses would still harbor evil intentions towards the Hidden House Han. If they wanted to deal with the Hidden House Han, then they might as well build a good relationship with Lin Yi blocking them. Perhaps House Han would have more time to breathe. What Old Han could see clearly, the other members of House Han could see clearly as well. They all nodded. Old Han was right. If they could get Lin Yi's support, at least in the short term, House Han wouldn't be in any danger. Plus, during the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi might even be able to win other competitions, and that would give House Han even more face. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1960. "Yes, Grandpa, as long as you say so," Han Xiaopa said. "As long as we can offer enough benefits, then we don't have to be afraid that he won't come." After lunch, Lin Yi looked at the stranger in front of him and frowned slightly. Lin Yi was very sure that he didn't know the person in front of him, but the person in front of him was blocking his way, which made Lin Yi a little unhappy. "What do you want?" Lin Yi asked calmly. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Lin Yi?" Although the person had blocked Lin Yi's way, his tone was very polite. "Yes, what do you want?" Lin Yi looked at the person in front of him again, but he still didn't know him. "This humble one is Han Xiaopa of the Hidden Han family. Greetings, Senior Lin." Han Xiaopa used the honorific of the martial arts world and cupped his fists. "Hidden Han family?" This was the first time Lin Yi had heard of this hidden family, but Lin Yi still stopped in his tracks. Since this person was from a hidden family, then he might as well see what he wanted. "It's just a small family. It's normal that Senior Lin hasn't heard of it." Han Xiaopa smiled bitterly, thinking that the Hidden Han family really didn't have much of a reputation. Lin Yi probably hadn't heard of it before. Book C Pavilion, net. "Oh, tell me why you're here." Lin Yi didn't care whether the person was from a small family or a large family, and asked directly. Senior Lin, I won't beat around the bush. I have something that I need your help with, Han Xiaopa said. Not interested, no time. Lin Yi hadn't even heard of the hidden Han family, so he naturally wasn't in the mood to deal with someone asking for his help. Senior Lin, please wait. Our Han family once obtained an ancient ruin with many treasures. If Senior Lin can help us, you can choose any treasure you like as a reward. Han Xiaopa knew that he couldn't play mind games with people like Lin Yi. He had to say whatever was on his mind to gain Lin Yi's favor. If he beat around the bush, perhaps Lin Yi wouldn't have the patience to waste time with him. Ancient ruins? Lin Yi stopped in his tracks and turned to look at Han Xiaopa, deep in thought. Lin Yi naturally knew what an ancient relic was. Legend had it that the ancient sects and ancient families had become the overlords of the martial arts world because they had found an ancient relic. The fact that the hidden Han family had also found an ancient relic surprised Lin Yi. Found an ancient relic, and a small clan at that? Unheard of even in the hidden aristocratic families? However, although Lin Yi didn't know the reason behind it, Han Xiaopa's conditions had indeed tempted Lin Yi. Among the materials in the ancient ruins, there might be pure topaz, colored steel, or blue crystal powder. Book C Pavilion Net. That's right. Han Xiaopa nodded and said, I wonder if Senior Lin has the time to sit down and discuss in detail. All right, let's go to the cafeteria. I haven't had lunch yet, Lin Yi said. Senior Lin, this humble one has already booked a table at the Shui Shang Business Hotel nearby. I hope Senior Lin can do me the honor. Han Xiaopa heard Lin Yi's agreement and immediately invited him with a smile. Oh, then let's go. Lin Yi nodded. Under the biology building, a Ferrari sports car was parked. Han Xiaopa respectfully invited Lin Yi into the car and drove to the Shui Shang Business Hotel. The Shui Shang Business Hotel was actually the Shui Shang Hotel. It was just called by a different name. Arriving here, Lin Yi thought of Sun Jingyi, so he said to Han Xiaopa, Wait, I'll call a friend to eat with us. All right, no problem. Han Xiaopa naturally wouldn't have the slightest doubt. The more casual Lin Yi behaved, the more likely it was to succeed. Lin Yi called Sun Jingyi. It just so happened that Sun Jingyi was also going to eat, so Lin Yi let Sun Jingyi go directly to the private room that Han Xiaopa had booked. Lin Yi, why did you think of eating here at noon? Sun Jingyi was a little surprised by Lin Yi's sudden visit, but when she saw that there was an outsider beside Lin Yi, she was a little puzzled. This must be Senior Lin's girlfriend. Hello, Senior. My name is Han Xiaopa. I'm from the hidden Han family. Han Xiaopa said respectfully to Sun Jingyi. Ah, hidden Han family? Lin Yi didn't know about the hidden Han family, but as a member of an aristocratic family, Sun Jingyi was very clear about it. She also knew about the history of the Han family's rise to power. Even if the hidden Han family was a relatively weak existence among the hidden aristocratic families, it was still a behemoth compared to the Sun family. But what Sun Jingyi didn't expect was that the hidden Han family's disciple would call her senior. Could this be considered riding on Lin Yi's coattails? Yes, I am the eldest son and eldest grandson of the hidden Han family. I represent the hidden Han family, and I have some matters that I need Senior Lin's help with. Han Xiaopa explained respectfully. All right, serve the dishes first. I'm hungry. Let's talk while we eat. Lin Yi waved his hand impatiently and interrupted Han Xiaopa. Yes, Senior Lin. I'll ask the waiter to serve the dishes now. Han Xiaopa said as he turned around and left the private room, instructing the waiter to serve the dishes. At this time, Sun Jingyi was very surprised. She lowered her voice and said to Lin Yi, Why did he call you senior? Why did he need your help? Who knows? Let's hear it later, Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Soon, Han Xiaopa returned and sat respectfully at the seat below. He poured tea for Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. All right, before the dishes are served, tell me what you need, Lin Yi said. It's like this, Senior Lin. Han Xiaopa quickly told Lin Yi about the Hidden House Summit, the competition, and how he saw Lin Yi's flying car on the highway. Hidden House Summit? This was Lin Yi's first time hearing about this. But thinking about it, if the aristocratic families had their own house summit, then it wasn't surprising that the hidden families had their own hidden house summit. From the sound of it, this was a conference to test the hidden family's abilities. In other words, if I win the car race for you, all the prizes will belong to me. Plus, I can choose any treasure from your hidden Han family's treasure vault. Don't you think you're losing out? Yes, Han Xiaopa nodded. Of course, I hope this isn't just a trade, but the beginning of a friendship. I sincerely hope that our hidden Han family can become Senior Lin's friend. So, it doesn't matter if we're losing out or not. If Han Xiaopa wanted to negotiate, he could have said that he would give the prizes to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi didn't agree, he could have increased the stakes. But Han Xiaopa wanted to gain Lin Yi's friendship. After he found out that the person driving the jeep was Lin Yi, he had this idea. Pure topaz, blue crystal, chromatic steel. What does your hidden Han family have? Lin Yi asked. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1961. Pure topaz? Blue crystal? Colored steel? Han Xiaopa repeated Lin Yi's words and frowned. After a while he said uncertainly, I think we do have colored steel. It's a material used to forge weapons. Our Han family found some in the ancient ruins. I think it's called colored steel, but I'm not sure. Senior Lin, is it that colorful steel? That's right. Your hidden Han family has something like that. Lin Yi's eyes brightened. He did not think that the most difficult material to find would be found in the hands of the hidden Han family. If it's something like that, then we have one in our treasure vault. However, the blacksmith who forged the weapon has long since disappeared, and the method of forging has also been lost. We don't have much use for this thing. Han Xiaopa said, If that's what you want, then I can give it to you right now. Whether or not you agree to help our hidden Han family in the tournament, I'll give it to you as a meeting gift. All right, I agree. Lin Yi nodded. You're not bad. I know what you're thinking. But it's a bit difficult for me to protect your Han family. My strength is limited. If the other hidden houses join forces to cause trouble for you, there's nothing I can do. Don't worry about that, Senior Lin. Hidden families have their own rules. Even if they want to deal with us, the hidden house of Han, they'll have to use this sort of competition to get our treasures. They wouldn't dare to openly rob us. Han Xiaopa said, So as long as Senior Lin represents our Han family, at least in the short term, these people won't have any designs on us. What we need is some breathing room. That's not a problem. Also, I might participate in the other competitions you mentioned. Do I get to keep the rewards? Lin Yi asked. Book C Pavilion, net. Of course. Han Xiaopa was overjoyed. If Lin Yi could win a few more rounds, it would be a great opportunity to show off the hidden Han family's power. It would also show the other hidden families how powerful Lin Yi was. Okay, then you can go. This is my phone number. Call me when the time is confirmed. Lin Yi said and gave Han Xiaopa his phone number. All right, Senior Lin, I'll send you the colored steel tomorrow, Han Xiaopa said after writing down Lin Yi's phone number. Don't worry, but help me find out more about pure topaz and blue crystal, Lin Yi said. I will remember it, Senior Lin. Han Xiaopa said. The dishes were served, and Han Xiaopa was done with his business. He got up and left without eating. He was a smart man and went to pay the bill. He didn't want to disturb Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi's meal. He had achieved his goal. It didn't matter if he ate or not, as long as Lin Yi ate happily. Han Xiaopa and Lin Yi reached an agreement and built a good relationship. He returned to the hidden Han family to report Sun Jingyi was the only one left in the room. She looked at Lin Yi in surprise. These hidden houses are so afraid of you now. I burned 3 of them to death last time. Maybe they have a phobia now. Lin Yi shrugged. He was thinking about other things in his mind. His current strength was only at the early phase of Earth class, and he needed to raise it to the next level as soon as possible. Although the Frenzy Fist was powerful, Lin Yi had only trained the first 3 styles. At most, he could fight a mid-phase Earth class master to a draw. If he met someone stronger, then he wouldn't be able to do it. So Lin Yi was eager to raise his strength to the next level. It would be best if he could train the 4th to 6th style of the Frenzy Fist. After seeing the power of the Frenzy Fist, Lin Yi was confident that he could fight a late-phase Earth class master after training the 4th to 6th style. Of course, this was just a confidence. Before Lin Yi started training, everything was just a guess. He would only know after training. So that's how it is. Sun Jingyi nodded. Oh right, I did a comparison last night. That map seems to be the Wulong Mountains. But it was too late last night, so I didn't find the detailed map. I just woke up not long ago. I'm going to go online and look for a more detailed map later. Oh, you found it already? Lin Yi was a little surprised. Although Sun Jingyi made it sound easy, she must have been busy last night. It was just that Lin Yi was surprised that Sun Jingyi found the location on the map so quickly. Maybe it's my parents' secret. Of course I'm anxious. Sun Jingyi smiled embarrassedly. I understand. Let me know when you want to leave. I'll go with you. Lin Yi said. Thank you. Sun Jingyi said gratefully. But you may have to wait. At least, you have to wait until the Hidden Han family's matter is over. Lin Yi thought about it and said, It doesn't matter. You can go whenever you want. Moreover, it's not necessarily the Wulong Mountains. I just think the terrain is similar. Sun Jingyi said, Maybe I need to confirm it for a while. After lunch, Sun Jingyi returned to her room, and Lin Yi was ready to go back to school. After leaving the hotel, Lin Yi was about to stop a taxi, but he saw a middle-aged man walking quickly toward Lin Yi. Senior Lin, young master asked me to wait here and send you back to school. The middle-aged man explained before Lin Yi could ask. Then let's go. Lin Yi nodded. He didn't expect Han Xiaopa to be so considerate. After he left, he still sent someone to pick him up to school. The middle-aged man drove an Audi A8. After respectfully asking Lin Yi to get in the car, he didn't say much. He directly sent Lin Yi back to school and left. Lin Yi returned to the dormitory, but he saw Bai Wei-to-Ah still sitting at the desk with a sad face. Old Bai, what's wrong with you? Lin Yi looked at Bai Wei-to-Ah strangely. Wasn't the matter solved? Why didn't this guy lead the class to rehearse? Instead, he was sighing in the dormitory. Big brother Lin, you're back? Bai Wei-to-Ah saw Lin Yi, and his face suddenly showed some joy. Big brother Lin, I told the class about the big star Su Shirhan. Everyone was very excited after hearing it, but Right Coiling Tiger jumped out to cause trouble. He said that Su Shirhan had never held a concert in Donghai before, and that it was unheard of for her to participate in this kind of small event. So he said that I wanted to boost the class's morale, and that's why I made this up to compete with Zhang Duopan. And then Lin Yi frowned, thinking that this coiling tiger on the right didn't know how to stop, always going against them. Target equals _ blank. This matter is actually very easy to solve. Do you have a computer over there? We can video chat, and then you can call your classmates over. I'll talk to them personally, Su Shirhan said. That's a good idea. Computer. Lin Yi's gaze landed on Bai Wei-to-Ah's desk. This brat brought a laptop, so he said, I do. Then, do you have my QQ number? Add me, and then I'll send you a video chat request. Su Shirhan said, My number is 1212. Okay. Lin he wrote down Su Shirhan's QQ number and hung up. He said to Bai Wei Toa, go call our classmates over. Then Su Shirhan will video chat with them. Ah, that's great. Bai Wei Toa was overjoyed. He ran out of the dorm to call his classmates. Lin he opened Bai Wei Toa's laptop and logged into his QQ number. Lin he rarely used his QQ. He applied for it after he came to Songshan. There were only a few people added on it. Kong, Miss, Little Shoe, and so on. But Lin he didn't really use it, so he was still level 2. Lin he added Su Shirhan's number. After a while, the verification went through. Lin he had a new friend on QQ. It was called Beauty Han. This name made Lin he speechless. Wasn't she a bit too narcissistic? Linny? Su Shirhan sent a message. She wasn't sure about Lin Yi's identity. Lin Yi's nickname was 01. He had more personality than Su Shirhan. And it's me, narcissist. Lin Yi replied. Narcissist? You're a narcissist? Su Shirhan was confused by Lin Yi's reply. You are. Lin Yi said, look at your QQ name. What narcissism? I'm a beauty. Su Shirhan said matter-of-factly. Only blind people don't know how to appreciate beauty. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It seemed like Su Shirhan hated him a lot. Hearing footsteps coming from outside the dorm, Lin Yi quickly replied, Okay, she's here. After that, he quickly closed the chat window. Book Ocean Pavilion. He opened it again. The chat history was gone. Lin he didn't want others to know about his relationship with Su Shirhan. Okay, I'll request a video call. Su Shirhan replied and sent a video call request. Song Xiaodao and Zhao Xingji were in the other dorms. They saw Bai Wei Tua's worried face. So they went to the other dorms to pull some strings. Actually, it wasn't that the students in the class didn't want to help, but they didn't have the confidence. Who didn't want their major and their class to shock the world at the school's freshman party? This was a good chance to be famous. These 20 guys were all single. When the class became famous, it would be easier to find a girlfriend. It was just that Zhang Duopan invited a celebrity. So no matter how hard they tried, they weren't on the same level as him. Instead of working hard for half a day and still getting bullied, they might as well just deal with it. But when they heard that Su Shirhan was going to video call them, they got excited. Could it be that what Bai Wei Tua said before was true? He could really invite Su Shirhan. And so these guys immediately swarmed to room 444. And at this time, Lin Yi accepted Su Shirhan's video call request. On the computer screen, Su Shirhan, who was wearing casual clothes and no makeup, appeared. Su Shirhan, it's really Su Shirhan. The first guy who rushed into the dorm saw Su Shirhan on the computer screen and screamed, Class leader didn't lie to us. This is the first time I've seen Su Shirhan without makeup. She's so beautiful and pure. Book C Pavilion, target equals _blank. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.